just gonna move something here real quick. We will for sure need lights. So I gotta have those a little bit closer. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Happy Saturday. How are we today? Oh, there's Nick from the other room. Hi, honey, from 2 minutes ago. Hi, Carla. Terry. Terry says, let's see, Carla's Arkansas. Terry says, good morning from the cabin. Ooh, wonderful place to be, high in the Rocky Mountains. Terry, I bet it's nice and cool where you are. Get out of the heat, right? That's what we do in Utah, is try to get to the mountains to get out of the heat. Hi, Val from Utah, not far from me. Hi, Cindy. And so, Cindy, where are you? You said good afternoon. I'm just curious. Sandy from Texas. Hi, Gracie Creates. Yes, Nick is sitting in the world headquarters of Lail by Mail, aka our living room. Yeah, that's the world headquarters, all out of our house. And I will tell you, let's see, what's today? Saturday. Thursday, 2 very large pallets were delivered. Pallets so big, pallets with many boxes stacked. A lot of the product for this year's December documented project kit. So because we don't have a warehouse and because my little business is run out of our home, it's all downstairs in the basement. Bless Nick's heart. He unloaded just one of the pallets and in the garage. So we don't live like on an expansive, acres property. We live in a little small house, and he logged 3/4 of a mile going from the garage down to the basement, back up and back up and back. And that's just one of the pallets. So anyhow, the whole basement is pretty much covered with product for December documented, which is very exciting. He's a good man. I'm very lucky. Okay, hold on. I gotta see. We're gonna chat lots today because I feel like we haven't chatted in a while. All right, so let's see. Dino 914 is from HTH, Florida. Oh, hotter than hell. Yes, gotcha. I'm like, HTH, what is that? Hi, Colleen. Nice to see you, Colleen. Diane from Toronto. Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Irene from hot California, right? Cindy, Maryland. Cheryl, Carlsbad. Oh my gosh. Terry, if you are newer or kind of maybe haven't been around in a while, but Terry lives in Colorado, and they go up to their cabin somewhere in the mountains of Colorado, and they have wildlife all over. So Terry has a couple times posted some photos in the Facebook group, and she just said, Mama Baby Moose greeted us this morning, which is so fun. Nature's just awesome. We experienced lots of nature the last couple of weeks. Nick said we need a warehouse. Yeah, we probably do. The only problem is I don't want to go to a warehouse. As long as I can keep working at home, then that's fine. The problem is it's kind of just me. So if we have a warehouse, then I need somebody to work at the warehouse. And I've got a couple people that help me part-time, but yeah. Someone said hello from Alberta, Canada, but I only see their little face. Karen from, I know I can't pronounce that, Karen. Naco, Texas, right? Gerda from Central Texas. You're going to find one you're going to find a warehouse for me today. That's awesome, honey. Great. You better, yeah, never mind. Hi, Francis. Nice to see you, Northern California. Francis, Lynn from Washington, Amber from Missouri. Hi, Kim. Nice to see you. It seems like I haven't seen you in a while, Kim. Well, seen you like this. So fun to have you join us today. Pam, Julie. Oh my gosh, lots of you guys. Cindy, Joe, Janelle. Janelle said, I actually got to join on a live for a change. Such beautiful pictures from your bucket list trip. Hello from suburb of St. Louis. I'm glad you could join us, Janelle. I'll talk a little bit more, well, actually a lot about our trip when I do my About Last Month, our first list for today. Amber said, I'm so excited about this from Missouri. Hi, Amber. Wanda, Tennessee. Michelle. Joe is in Pennsylvania. Joe said, I'm in PA, but if I was closer, I'd work for you. I know probably there are a number of you that would, and I would love that. I actually, you guys know, maybe I have one part-time employee that works for me, Lily, who used to be our nanny. So she worked with us for 15 years when our kids were young. And then I hired her almost a year ago to now do some work part-time. So she's been with me a year. Things have been so crazy. She now has one of her neighbors working for me, which totally weird, small world. Her neighbor reminded me that when I worked back at Scenic Route, so way back in the day, I mean, this is, I don't know, like 15 years ago, probably. Um, the neighbor's daughter, Denise is her name. But Denise's daughter did some work for us at Simple Stories because Lily and Denise lives next door to each other. Anyhow, long story, but kind of weird, small world how things come back together, right? Right. Yes, Terry would. I know Terry, you would. Wouldn't that be fun? We could have so many of us, so many of us all working together, and then I'd be in trouble because I'd be paying everyone. But it'd be fun, wouldn't it? Dora, hi Dora, nice to see you. Okay, friends, so I could really sit here all day and just chat and say hi. And I know some of us would be totally fine with that. I would. Then it'd be just like our little social get together. But I know some of you would like to do something today. So we will kind of start to transition into that. Let me back up and say welcome. Welcome to they used to be weekly. Now they're when Lael's in town. Creative listing sessions. So happy to have you here when I am in town and not traveling, either for business or pleasure. We are here on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and we do what I like to call creative listing. So usually a couple days before, I publish 3 different list prompts, and those list prompts are what I work on. Some of you work on them with me. Some of you are working on different creative projects. Other people are working or driving or playing or babysitting or whatever it is that you're doing. So we just have lots of fun when we're together here on Saturdays. We've been doing this, oh my gosh, about 2.5 years. Started at the beginning of the pandemic, the very first week. And I thought, oh my gosh, what the heck's going on? This is crazy. Like all of us were. And I thought, what can I do to try to put something out there to help people get their mind off things? And back then, I said, I know, I'm going to just do a free class about Traveler's Notebooks because I know a lot about Traveler's Notebooks. And I did that. And then I did another one the next week. And then we went for months, really years, kind of on end without even taking a break on a Saturday because pandemic. And what I realized, and I think what a lot of you realized through that, was that we were starved for lots of things. We were starved for connection. We were starved for interaction with other people. We were starved for like some girl time, starved for some creative time, lots of different things. So that's kind of how things started, and we're still here because I can't give it up. I have so much grown to love our Saturdays together. I shouldn't say grown. I mean, really, from the very first one that I did. And it filled a lot of holes that I was feeling that needed to be filled in my life. So we're still here. And we play. And as we play, I work with different products. A lot of those products I carry on my website at laelbymail.com. In other cases, I'm playing with products I don't carry, but I usually will link to them in the description of the video. I always, in the description of the video, usually always have links. But now what I've started doing is I just have one link to all the products on my website that I'm using. So there's a brand new page or a newer page that's just called what I'm using. So I link to that in the description of the video. So it makes it a little bit easier for you to find something if you're looking for something that I am working with. So I play with different products. We stamp, we make mistakes, and the make mistakes are not on purpose. But that's part of, I think, the fun, at least for me, because I make a mistake and we go, ooh, shoot, how do we fix that? And we talk through different ways that we could fix that. And we all make mistakes, right? A lot of times I get input from you guys. So you'll say, or I'll say, I don't know which one. Should I use this color or this one or that one? And you guys give great feedback. And I love that too. Some of you give feedback when I don't even ask for it, which I even love that more because you guys always have great ideas. And sometimes I get stumped and you throw something out. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the best idea ever. Hadn't even thought of that. So that is what we do here on Saturdays. If you are watching live, there is a live chat that takes place. I see it over on the right-hand side of my screen. Now, as I'm talking at you guys like this, as opposed to when I'm working, it's hard for me to see all the chat because it goes pretty quickly. But when I flip the camera, then I'm able to kind of see the chat a little bit more. So as we're working, if you have questions about anything, if you have comments, I will usually glance up. I might see your comment or question and I might not. If it is something that you'd really like responded to, sometimes I have a better chance of seeing it if you put it in all caps. If I glance up and see all caps, it kind of stands out over the other ones. So Also, don't be shy. If you've asked something and I didn't answer it, ask again. Also, the people that are here are a great resource. All of you wonderful people are a great resource. And so sometimes a question will be asked and I don't see it and you guys will answer it, which I love that too. Speaking of the people that are here, it is a wonderfully amazing group of people. And that's whether you're here for the first time, you're here for the, I don't know how many times there would be, 50 times 3, I don't know, 150th time, whatever it is, or anywhere in between. This has turned into such a wonderful, safe little place. So if you are new, pop into the chat and say hi. We'd love to know that you're here. Tell us where you're from if you'd like to share that and anything else that you'd like to share, but don't be afraid. It's such a welcoming group of people. And I would also love to know that you're here, especially if you're new, because I have a soft spot in my heart for those of you that are new, just because I think it's awesome that you're here. I think it's awesome that everyone's here, but I love it when we have new people too. Okay, let me just look up at the chat real quick. I know I've missed a ton. Donna, hi Donna from Springfield, Mass. Hi Vicky, nice to see you. Beverly, good morning from Montana. Oh, there's a man jogging outside. You just caught my eye. That's what I should be doing. I should be out running. Oh, that just reminds me. I need to add one more thing to my About Last Month list. We'll talk about that because it's been kind of fun. Terry said, we really are a great group of silly squirrels. Yes, squirrels. Scatter the Squirrel is kind of our little mascot here that came from early days in the pandemic as we were all together. And our youngest son, Sam, was home from college, stuck at home like many of us were. And he actually was helping me when I first started getting going on these Saturday sessions because I'm like, I don't know how to turn the camera. We were trying to figure out all different kinds of things. But anyhow, one day after one of the sessions, he's like, gosh, Mom, you really get off topic a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I kind of squirrel. And then we were chatting and I said, oh my gosh, it'd be so fun. I'm going to go on Amazon, see if I can find a little squirrel. And I did. And that was Scatter. So now Scatter has turned into my friend Andy designed a little Scatter icon. He is now on different stickers, stamps, pins. He's on mechanical pencils. I've got them in all kinds of different kinds of things. But anyhow, mugs, shirts, whatever. So it's been kind of fun. Yeah, squirrel. Just know that if you're here, that's just what happens. It's my personality. If I was with you guys all in person, we'd be talking about something and then I'd be squirreling over here or over there. Anyhow, that's where we are. There's so many things I could talk about. Literally, you guys, we could be here for 8 hours and we'd never do any listing because I just chat. Some of you would be here for it. Others of you after about 2 minutes would be like, I'm out. And that'd be okay. So I missed the amen, Terry. Oh yeah, to that. Colleen, thank you. Colleen, I call our resident mom. The reason I say that is Colleen is always so good about reminding me of things and sometimes reminding you guys of things. And she said, remember to give the video a thumbs up. That's super, super important. If you could give the video a thumbs up, that's super helpful to me. So thank you, Colleen. All right, you guys. Yes, Terry, perfect example of a squirrel. I'm just scrolling over here to the side so I can read. Nicole said, hi, Lael, we've missed you. I've missed you guys too. All right. Oh, Julie. Okay, one more. Julie said, Lael, you're so amazing. I love your kits. I bought the Disneyland and Christmas kit. Your videos and instructions are so great and easy to follow. #love. Thank you, Julie. That's so sweet. Thank you for saying that. All right, guys. So I think, well, let's talk about a couple of housekeeping items real quickly before we move on. In one of my, let's see, the email that went out on Thursday, you may have received it Thursday or Friday, but the very bottom of that, I set out our schedule for our Saturday listing sessions for the rest of the year. So if you missed that, every email that I sent out going forward will have that on it. We will be, we'll never go a month. We'll never go a month without, I think what I figured out is at least 2 listing sessions. We are moving into now my busiest travel time of the year when it comes to traveling and teaching. So, I think December's our best. I think December we're together 3 weeks in December just because I'm not traveling teaching any December. I think the only one we're missing is Christmas Eve, December 24th. So take a look at that and that'll give you a really good idea. Leading into that, we will not be together next weekend. Next weekend is Labor Day weekend and I will not be here. So just stay tuned for that. But we will be together the first, whatever that next weekend is, I guess the second weekend in September. Kathy said, finally get to catch a live. Happy to have you live, Kathy. Oh my gosh, Terry, you're too sweet. Terry said, Lael, my friend, you are looking very thin. You look amazing. Thank you. Not feeling very thin. Hormones. I was having tons of issues. Terry, you know about this a little bit. I think that's you, right? Hot flashes. Anyhow, lots of things were going on. And so I talked to my doctor, went on some hormones, and one of the side effects, there's been some great positive side effects. One of the negative side effects, some weight gain. So story of my life. Anyhow, thank you, Terry. Maybe up from here on up. Debbie, good morning. Debbie Brink, West Point, Utah. Hi, Debbie, West Point, Utah. That's not too far from me. Okay, guys. So that was our first, my first little housekeeping item segue was our listing schedule for the rest of the year. Next one, if you missed it, my annual December documented project kit went live for pre-order last night. Oh my gosh, I gotta tell you, I really struggled on this one. Product assortment, deciding what I wanted to use. I was having a hard time narrowing it down, so I actually picked parts from 5 different collections, 4 Simple Stories collections, and then Vicky's Evergreen and Holly. So it is going to be a really fun kind of mashup of 5 different collections, which is my favorite way to do it, because that's really, that's how I used to do it when I didn't do project kits, when I was just doing the December documented December daily project. I would just mash things up. So this is probably the closest to my personal style in terms of what I would do if I was just on my own doing it. This is year 15 for me doing this project. And this is my 8th project kit of December documented. And it is by far, I always say this, it's by far my favorite project of the year. Anyhow, so that went on for pre-order last night. You can find that on my website, along with lots of Christmas collections, and they'll continue to come. Some of the Simple Story stuff is starting to sell out pretty quickly on my website. It'll be back. I just need to place a reorder, so don't worry about that. I know, Joe Disney fan said, no fun being a woman at times. I know, right? I always say to Nick, I'm like, would you like to trade me places? Would you like to trade me places? Yeah, anyhow, I won't go into some of the other details that I'm anyhow. Aggie Miller, good morning from Australia. Hi, nice to have you. Hi, Susan. Okay, guys. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to see you. Okay, friends. So that was our second. I think any other housekeeping items that I think of, I'll remember and I'll talk about them as we go. So I'm going to spin the camera. Okay. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 spin. Oh, that was a little, I was messing with something ahead of time. So, Colleen, your timing is always impeccable. Colleen said, Lael, remember to plug in your phone after flipping the camera. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Colleen. When I said Colleen, I like to call like a resident mom, because she's always so good about things like that, reminding me to set it to do not disturb, reminding me to plug in my phone. Usually we go about 3 hours, and so I have to make sure my phone is plugged in, or else we would lose battery, and then we'd lose everyone. We'd get disconnected. All right, added a little light to the subject. Okay, so usually when we start out, the first thing that I like to do is take a look at the lists that we worked on last time when we were together. And when I pulled this out this morning, I went, guess what? We didn't finish one of our lists from 2 weeks ago. And I had said, we'll start when we get together again at the end of August with that list. Well, that was this one. And I did not even think of that this morning until I pulled this out. So this will be the first list actually that we work on when we're together again in 2 weeks. What's on your watch list? So that was the one that we just barely started last 2 weeks ago and didn't finish. Donna, reach out to me, Donna. Send me an email. Donna said, I want to order the Document December kit, but it looks more advanced than I can handle. Very nice, though. Donna, shoot me an email and let's chat about it, because I may have some things that I can share that wouldn't make you feel that way. All right. So the 2 lists that we did when we were together last, we did this one, Favorite Things About Traveling, and we used the Simple Stories Let's Go collection. Now, when we did this list, I had mentioned that this is not the first time that we have done this list. We did this same list topic. Oh, I want to say it's probably been about maybe 2 years ago or maybe 18 months ago. Every once in a while, I like to do hi, Brooke, nice to see you. I like to do a repeat of a list because some of our list topics, even though the topic is the same, the things that you are listing about or the things that you are actually listing may change, okay? So when I last did this list, Nick and I were not empty nesters. Nick and I are now empty nesters. When I last did this list, Nick and I we didn't have an RV. This time we have an RV. So some of the things that I enjoy about traveling now have changed quite a bit from 2 years ago. So I think also we had a pandemic in there where a lot of us weren't traveling at all. So we did this list topic again, and that's the reason I wanted to do it again, because like I said, sometimes things change. Yes, there we go. That was favorite things about traveling using the Simple Stories. Let's go. The next one was I love a good ... or fill in the blank. Now, some of you shared that when I posted this as a list topic, you were like, I don't understand. I don't understand. How will we do that list? Well, I love a good book, chick flick, glass of wine, salad, crispy French fry, walk, compliment, a good night's sleep, a challenge, a cheeseburger, good cup of coffee, a good Bloody Mary, a good hot shower, anyhow. So basically it was just, I love a good and whatever things that you like. This is could also be along the same lines of a things that make me happy type list. So we had fun with this one. We used these products I used here, the flowers and that background paper. Actually, the flowers, part of the background paper. I just used my little X-Acto knife to cut that out and slide my list in. That also from, believe it or not, the Let's Go collection from Simple Stories. So that one was fun to just look at how we could use something that was from a travel themed collection for a list that was not travel themed at all. And then of course, as I mentioned, a watch list, which we didn't get to. And that was using 2 of my new Lail by Mail washi rolls. All right. So Colleen said the traveling topic is interesting year to year and pre and post pandemic. Exactly, Colleen. There are a lot of lists that we do like that, perspective. I think for a lot of us, the pandemic puts a lot of things in perspective. So, as we continue, we may revisit a few of our list topics that we had done in the past if I feel like they may be a good kind of pre and post, and not even pandemic related, but, every couple of years, sometimes things change, right? Brooke said, I love a good listing day with Lael, but I've never had a bad one. Oh, I love that, Brooke. That's fun. That's fun. Okay, so let's move on to our first list for today. I need to take this out of my traveler's notebook, my cover. Oh my gosh, you guys, that just made me think. There are so many fun things in the works. I can't even tell you. Well, I can tell you. We're continuing to make progress on my own Lail by Mail Traveler's Notebooks. The thing with that is you want to get it right. And I haven't worked with the factory directly before. So we are working to make sure that we get it right. So hopefully, crossing fingers, the way the process works, once we get all of the specs down and the artwork is done, but we're still kind of working a little bit with the specs. They will produce a sample for me. They'll mail me the sample. We either approve or make changes, and they change on their end, and then they go into production, and then they need to get on the water from China. So hopefully by the end of the year, although not rushing things. So we'll see. News at 11 on that one. Oh my gosh, brand new stamp sets in the works or in production right now. So I've hinted at some of those. Those are coming next month. Oh gosh, a brand new pencil board. A pencil board. You guys sent me down a path again. So I have my own custom pencil board that I just approved the artwork on, and I'll probably have that in the next month. Anyhow, lots and lots and lots of fun things. Okay, our first list is about last month. Now, we are a couple days shy of the end of the month. But since we won't be together again until mid-September, I thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and do our About Last Month right now for the month of August. Marilee said, hi, Layla by Mail and Squirrel Squad. Glad to have my Saturday morning with you all. Marilee, glad to have you. I hope you're hanging in there. Marilee sent not two daughters, right? One daughter. One daughter off to college this past week. And it's hard when you do that, right? It's hard when your littles fly the nest or leave the nest, fly the coop. I like to joke that Nick and I are parents of free-range children. Free-range children. So they're on their own. But it's hard. And especially the first couple weeks. Oh my gosh, it's hard. So I'm with you. I'm with you, hon. Sneak peeks, Terry, stamp sets. You know what? When we're together again in 2 weeks, because I'll have my samples then. Kathy, yes, there is a list of all dates for Saturday listing until the end of the year. I added it. It was on the email blast that went out on Thursday. I will add a blog post for that later today, just so it's out on my blog and you can see that. I will, I'll talk about what a pencil board is because I will use one as we get going. Have mini crying sessions here and there. Yeah, Marilee, that's totally absolute. At least for me, that was absolutely 100% normal. Okay. So our first list about last month. This is a list that I do every month, and it is a quick rundown on what happened. Because Nick and I are empty nesters and our kids are out living their own lives, the way that I document, the way I do my memory keeping as it relates to this has changed quite a bit from when they were little kids. So this is my way. 2-page list every month of just capturing what happened. And it's what happened in my life, Nick's life. It's just kind of, some things are really basic, like, oh, I got fresh flowers from Trader Joe's. Some things are not as basic, like, oh my gosh, we had a moose come into our campsite when we were camping. So just depends. I always do the exact same format. I have a specific format that I'm doing for 2022. It's different than what I did for 2021. It will change for 2023. But for the year, I use the exact same format. And that is photos on the right page. And for 2022, this is what I'm doing. This is a 5x7. I print that, Sheila, yes, Scatter will be on the board. Of course, Scatter will be on the pencil board, right? Of course he will. Anyhow, I do print a 5x7 and I print 9 photos. This is a template that would fit 12 photos, but I like to kind of leave room in that corner for a little bit of fun product and decoration and stuff. So I use the Epson PictureMate PM400 to print that. And I don't have to have any fancy skills to get all those little photos on there, just a template. They have lots and lots and lots of different templates. And I say, this is the template I want. And then I pull up the app on my phone, the Epson Creative Print app, and then just move the photos in. So that is the right side. And then the left side, I use my year in review or about last month's stamp set and then just do a big run-on list. Brooke, love the pictures of you and Vicky. Yeah, that was fun. My dear friend Vicky Booten was in town. Oh my gosh, she was here for 10 days last month in July. So, we had a ball. We had a ball. KMC Stamper, yes. Lael, can we see a sneak peek of the December Daily album? You betcha. Go to laelbymail.com and you will see it right there. Okay. So I have my photos printed out. We did a pretty long road trip this month. We were gone for 12 days. Just got back Wednesday late afternoon. We did little tiny bit of California and then Oregon coast. So that's what my list is definitely going to be about for August. Well, not about, lots of things on my list will be about that for August. So this needs to go over here. It always goes on the right-hand page. And sometimes I need to just trim this down a tad. Now this is a 5x7 and the inserts that I use, and I carry both size inserts, well, really 3 size inserts on my website, I guess. I do standard wide, and A6. But primarily what I use is standard wide. Standard wide is 5 inches wide by 8.25 inches tall. So 5x7 works really well with that, but sometimes I have to just trim down the width just a tad on a 5x7. The reason for that is it's the same width, but we lose a little tiny bit because of the binding or the stapling. So I just need to narrow that down just a tad. And I will need a trimmer to do that, won't I? Things are a bit of a, well, I don't know, yes, disaster. I don't know. I have not unpacked in my craft room from several trips because I basically went from one to the next to the next to the next. And yeah. So this morning, well, never mind, doesn't matter. Sometimes it just takes me a bit to find things because if I haven't completely unpacked yet from several trips, well, yeah, you know how that is. Now, I better clarify. I haven't packed clothing and things like that. It's just the craft things that I took with me. Have not unpacked. Sheila, did you ever get a chance to document the Epson printer? Not yet. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say not yet. That sounds better in my head. Makes me feel better. Makes me feel better. It'll come. I promise it'll come. It's just... you know when it'll probably come? It'll probably come in December because that is when things will settle down a bit, headed into lots of traveling for teaching the next couple of months. All right, so let's go ahead and adhere this down. Now that just reminded me also, I don't know where is this it? Oh, it is. Okay, good. I can pull this back out. A lot of the teaching I was doing virtually over the last month, I had to use my little guy because the refills were sold out of this guy. The refills are back, which is awesome because that means they're also back for me too, which means now I have them in my store that I can use. All right, so we'll add our adhesive to that photo. I have linked in the description box of the video, linked to that printer I use, as well as linked, I believe, to the photo paper that I use, because that's always, those two questions kind of go hand in hand. What printer do you use? And what photo paper do you use? Yes, Susan. I will see you at Ready, Set, Create in Burbank in, oh my gosh, less than a month. So excited for that. Sheila said, thank you. That makes me feel better too. Yes. Not yet. Not yet makes it sound a lot more, I don't know, right? You know what I mean. Okay. So I have had this collection on my website, I don't know, for a couple months. Well, really since Simple Stories came out with it. What's interesting is that when I brought it in just because I loved it and thought it was really fun. I think when I brought it in, I did not know. We had not planned this trip yet. So when I was thinking while we were gone, I'm like, oh gosh, while we're driving, I should be thinking about Saturday and what we're going to do and our list topics and product that I want to use. And I went, oh my gosh, okay, guess what? We just did the Oregon coast. So the Simple Vintage Seas. Wow. That's a mouthful. The Simple Vintage Seas collection would be great for my About Last Month for the month of August. So I had pulled out some die cuts and I had pulled out some pattern papers on my little flat lay image that I used to say, hey, we're getting together. I will not be using any of these papers for my list today just because I don't typically use pattern paper when I do my About Last Month list. But you better believe I will be using some of these papers for my documenting of our trip because I have a lot to document. Now, what's fun about this collection? This collection would work great for cruise. It would work great for the East Coast, any kind of East Coast beach, but works really well for West Coast too. Now, for me, it's going to work really well for northern West Coast, right? So Northern California and then the Oregon coast, just because you have the lighthouses and things like that. So that is what I will be using, not only for our list today, but also to document when I get to it, but also to document, Oh, the trip. Good news is, and when I do a long trip like this is my, hi, Vicky. Vicky, I owe you like 18 emails and a couple responses to some direct messages on Instagram and a couple texts. And while we were gone, the cellular coverage, oh my gosh, so spotty. I had no idea. There would be like 4 and 5 hours as we're driving with zero coverage. I'm just going to show you this really quick. This is the notebook that I take with Harvey, is our RV, the name for our RV. But this is my brains when it comes to that. Everything that I need to reload, to restock, my very messy tracking the license plates on this trip. But anyhow, on a trip like this is what I did. So I wouldn't remember. I wouldn't forget. So basically every day I just made a couple notes about things that we did, where we were, so that when I am ready to sit down and document, I have everything I need there. So that's one of my little travel tips when it comes to documenting. All right. So, Valerie, I have to tell Vicky, because I don't think that, I know that she wouldn't connect in her head your name with, so Vicky, Valerie is the one that dropped off, Valerie is the wonderful human that came while you were here and dropped off. We were gone, but dropped off those little scrubber things, those little like hand crocheted scrubber things. Okay, so when I said I wasn't going to use any of the papers, I kind of lied. I am going to use this one. And I'm not going to use it as a base of my page, although that would be really cute, right? I could use that for another list, like favorite things about our trip to the coast. I could totally do that. But I don't typically do a piece of pattern paper there when I do my about last month. So that part is not really going to work if I were to use the whole thing. But what I thought would work, I think I could fussy cut this and have this go here as the bottom of my list. So that's what I'm going to do. Sarah said, oh, my mom had a special travel notebook for their motor homing trips. Yes. So, and that, some of you might say, well, Lil, how come you use that spiral instead of a traveler's notebook? I don't know. Oh, I do know, actually, because now that I think about it, because I also have this one, this little mini traveler's notebook. That is also, well, that's not exactly Harvey, but same thing. This is where I have all my little small inserts for the road trips, our national parks. Well, concert goes in there too. Our trips, states that we go to and all that. So traveler's notebook for one. Okay, now fussy cutting. So let's see. I mean, this is going to take up a good portion of my list, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to be okay with that. I'm going to grab my little fussy cutting scissors here and just come in around this cute little doily. A number of the Simple Stories, Simple Vintage collections have artwork like this in them. And I think that's part of what makes the Simple Vintage collection so awesome, is that they're simple, right? I mean, look at all this awesome like layering that's already done for us. So it makes us look like we spent a ton of time. We had a red doily, we did a little label, we did some rope, we did some foliage, we did a little bird, the lighthouse. We didn't have to do any of that. It's all just in the artwork. So that one even piece of paper, that one piece of 6x8 paper, I can have a pretty nice decorative little embellishment, which is what I'm making it here. I'm making a little embellishment, basically. Now, don't be nervous. I'm not going to fussy cut out all those inside parts of the doily. I like fussy cutting, but not that much. Some of you I know would be all into that. If Susie Comey's here, I know she would not be into that. Susan, you know that, right? Although I think I've converted Susie. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to just, I don't need to get that red around there. It's going to be a lot better if I don't have that red around there, because then I'm not trying to get those little pieces. So Oregon coast. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I had never been. I mean, I've been to Portland before, but Portland is not the Oregon coast. And it's been a bucket list trip for a long time. I've always wanted to do that. And oh my goodness, I could live on the Oregon coast. I honestly could. Now, I've always been a beach person. I love the beach, but beach for me has always been like warm beach, like Hawaii or Mexico or Caribbean or Southern California, warm beach. I've never experienced the beaches like they have, and really the weather and the climate like they have on the Oregon coast. Someone responded or left a comment on my Instagram post yesterday when I had posted about this, and said that's why we call it. So she's from Oregon, the coast, and they don't call it like lowercase the coast. It's the coast because it is, oh my goodness, pretty spectacular. If you want to see lots of photos, I have posted them on Instagram from kind of three main parts of our trip. I have one more post to do, kind of a people side of the trip. And then I posted them also on Facebook, but I am behind one on Facebook. Let's just go ahead and get rid of that. We don't need that little leaf thing there. I couldn't really call it greenery. It's more like reddery. More like red. Vicky, look at you on the treadmill just listening. I love that. Terry said, Lael, those little TNs have finally gotten my daughter to document life, which I love. I love that. I love that for her, and I love that for you, Terry. I know you had said you were trying to get her to maybe embrace kind of documenting, memory keeping, scrapbooking, right? Whatever. And sometimes the younger generations, although we do have our Adeline that joins us, who's 10 here, and we have, oh my gosh, also with an A, Ariana, who's our 14-year-old listener that lists with us. But for the most part, the youngsters don't really, and that's kind of the whole scrapbooking thing. It's just not really what they do. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it, Terry, that she totally is embracing that. All right, I need to make this 5 inches. So I am grabbing my little zero centering ruler, and I'm using the bottom part of the ruler. So actually, let me pull out the red one. So I'm using the bottom part of the ruler. The bottom part has 0 in the center. This is a 6 inch. There's also a 12. Oh, you'll notice that I have a couple different colors. That's because you can paint the backs of them with acrylic paint. They're etched. And so when you paint with acrylic paint, the paint goes in the little etch marks so you can see them, and then not everywhere else. So the 0 centering on the bottom, the top 0 to 6, 1/16 measurements, all labeled. So there's no guessing as to, if you're looking for 13/16 or 5/8 or whatever. But the bottom, you have 0 in the center, and then you go to the right 3 and the left 3. 0 centering is pretty awesome. I'm going to go back to this one just because we'll be able to see it a little bit better. I know I need to trim this guy to 5 inches wide. And I don't really know how wide it is right now. Well, I can measure, right? So this happens to right now be, 5 5/8 wide. So how in the heck am I going to trim that evenly from both sides to get it to be 5 inches wide when it's 5 5/8? That kind of math I don't want to do. So all I do is come up here and I line it up so that I have the same measurement on the left side and the right side. So over here I have 2 13/16. And here I have 2 13/16. So if I want to go to 2.5 and 2.5 would give me 5, right? If I go up here and I'm just going to take out my, hang on, let me get it there. There's 13/16. There's 13/16. So I'll get out my little pencil, and if I mark at 2.5 here, and I mark at 2.5 here, that is how I will get that to be the exact width that I need it. Lael about the math. I know. And you know what, Karen, we always joke about the math. I will tell you, I have been teaching crafting, scrapbooking classes for, I don't know, about 18 years. The math in scrapbooking, crafting, memory keeping, whatever it is what gets people the most. Math and this kind of hobby do not go together, right? Sometimes we'll drive ourselves nuts in trying to figure that out. So that little 0 centering ruler makes it a lot easier. And those I have on my website. Those are mine. All right, so I need to adhere this. I'm going to adhere to the right-hand page. Hi, Dandy. Nice to see you. Yeah, except Karen. Karen said, no guessing at fractions anymore. Layla saved everyone well except me. Karen does the fractions. Okay. Diane Barnes, right? Diane. Yes, Diane. Okay, really quick while Diane's here. I was going to show this later, but I want to show you guys now. Oh no, wrong Diane. Diane Jenkins. Never mind. Never mind. Little squirrel. All right. So I am going to, you'll notice I'm using a glue stick, and I'm using a glue stick right there. Not a glue stick, a glue pen. I'm using the glue pen right there along that edge. And the reason why I want to do that is because when I go to put this down, it has to round the corner, right? It has to round the corner. Let me make sure we have the edge. It's got to round this little corner right in here. So I need to make sure I get that nice and adhered. It's not really a corner. Can't really round a corner, I guess. Not really a corner. But because I have so much that has already come before it, that little piece of paper is going to have a hard time kind of staying down there. It's naturally going to want to lift. And so I'm not going to let it lift. I just add a little bit of extra help using that glue pen. Okay, there we go. Now, this is I normally don't do something like this. If you went back and looked at all my About Last months, they all pretty much look like this with the stuff over here and then washi over here. They would all, let's see if I did more of those. Well, I know I did more of those, but let's see where they are. Oh, there we go, right? So they all kind of follow that same thing. So it's a little bit different for me on this one. Hi from Michigan, Teresa. You just signed up for the December class. Oh my goodness. You will love it. You will love it. Like I said, it's my very favorite project of the year. Hands down. Hands down. All right. Now what I need to figure out is what color stamping I'm going to do over here. And then I also need to figure out what else I'm going to put over here, because I still have that big space that I need to fill in. So let's see. I had pulled some die cuts ahead of time from that Vintage Seas collection. And I pulled, I think from both packs. There's the journaling die cuts and then the regular die cuts, icons. So that guy for sure has to go there. Lighthouses on the Oregon coast. I think there are 8. And I think I want to say we saw 3 or 4. But they're beautiful. Oh my goodness, beautiful lighthouses. I have some of those in my pictures as well. Now, whale. So here's the thing with the whales. There are a couple of different size whales. And because that whale is big, and it would be fine, except for the fact that I have this whole big thing over here too, right? So I probably don't want big and big along the bottom. It'll make everything, well, it's going to be kind of bottom heavy anyway, but just like with people, you don't want your projects to be bottom heavy. I mean, people. Well, I don't know. Some people probably like bottom heavy people. Like, you know, the song I like, Big Butts. You know, like, oh my gosh, sorry. All right. Yes, Karen just said, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to not hit the like button because I was just talking about big butts. All right. So I could use this little whale somewhere. We did see whales on my birthday. Well, when we get there, when I start listing, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But oh my goodness, I tell you what, the sun came out, the stars aligned on my birthday because we were gone on my birthday. Absolutely. So that was fun. All right. So I think high tides and good vibes could work there. I think that will work. Now, maybe our whale, does the whale go here? The whale could probably go there. That works. Sure. Why not? Why not? Oh, I have so many pictures. I took so many pictures. All right. Then it's just so happens that my list will have a few more things besides the trip, but the trip was 12 days. So it was, you know, a good chunk of the month. A good chunk of the month. All right, let's see. We need to put maybe a few things like this in there to fill in a little bit of the space. Maybe this needs to come down a little bit more. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, I'm going to be pretty bottom heavy, but that's okay. Terry, you guys did. Terry said we had a great time wishing you happy birthday in the Facebook group. I know you did. You guys were so sweet. You were so sweet. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all of the love. All right. So I mean, this is going to be a heavy product, but that's all right. I'm okay with that. All right. Then we had, By the Shore. This could work over here maybe, or The Sea is Calling. The Sea is Calling. We'll figure it out. I think this will be kind of a good start. So let's go ahead and get some of these things adhered down. And probably for most of these, because they're a little bit smaller, I think I'll just use my little glue pen. I use 2 different glue pens, and both on my website. One is a wedge tip, and that's what I was using there. The wedge, chisel, not wedge. We had a wedge salad for dinner not all dinner, but we had wedge salad for dinner last night. That must be why I have wedged in the brain. I love a wedge salad. That's a squirrel moment. Anyhow, the chisel tip is nice if you are kind of using a glue pen for a larger space like I did on that guy. But then the fine tip, which I will need in a minute. Oh, right there. The fine tip is good for some of their smaller pieces. Now I need to move this guy out of the way. Oh, the other thing I didn't talk about is if you are a cruiser, you like to go on cruises, this collection would be really fun for that as well. Okay. I probably should have done the little one first. Little one first. That's okay. That's okay. All right, how's everybody doing today? What are we doing today? What's on your agenda for today? What's on your agenda for the weekend? Anything fun? Or just, oh my gosh, end of week, end of work week, end of retirement week, end of whatever week, but it's a weekend and now is when I catch up on all of the stuff I didn't get done during the week. Or maybe now is when you catch up on some of the fun things. I mean, that's the hard thing. A lot of times weekends, you got to do the work, huh? You do the laundry, clean the house, do the grocery shopping. So hopefully you have a good balance of whatever it is that you are, what you need to do this weekend, right? So if you're with us live, in the chat. Oh, Karen's going to the Broncos preseason game. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Let's see if I can get that back up. Probably not because it's on a photo. So it's staying. It is in place. Sarah said crafting today, tomorrow packing for Alaska. Oh my gosh, Sarah, am I jealous? Yes. Melissa said, hi, Melissa. My hubby wants me to come help clean the garage. I'm procrastinating, sitting here listening. Yes, tell him you have important work to do. You're documenting. It's your job as the family historian. You're documenting. So he can clean the garage. You've got to document, right? You need to document. So I don't know. Here's the thing. This guy isn't really working for me right there. So guess what? He's actually going to go right here. He'll be in the middle of my list. And he'll be in the middle of my list because guess what? Works kind of well right here. That little rock, actually they're islands. They're called islands. The Oregon coast, all those rocks like that you see in the sea, they're called islands or the ocean. That one is called Whale's Head. So that's kind of fun that the whale can go right there. All right, because I'll have to figure out what else I want to go there. I know. I think a word strip sticker will go there. When in doubt, word strip. Always, always, always. So let's look. This is the sticker book, the Vintage Seas sticker book. So I might go with one of these stickers. Open up. I might go with one of these stickers. Let's look and see what we have. Or I might just go with more of a plain word strip sticker. So let's look. I mean, there's lots of little options. Oh, I love those. Those are fun, aren't they? Those little kind of banners. But there's a lot going on in here already, so no room. Oh, although, guess what? Let's do, I think we need this cute little bird. Well, I shouldn't say cute little bird. This is a seagull. I think that's supposed to be a seagull. Seagulls are the Utah state bird, if you did not know that. Maybe this bird goes right here. Let's see, right about right here. Yeah, how about there? That's cute. Right there. Yes, state bird. Sometimes in Utah we call them flying rats because they're a little bit of a nuisance. But they seem totally different in along the coast than they do in Utah. I don't know why. Fun little border stickers. Oh yeah, but I'm getting sidetracked. I am looking for, oh look, lots of different whales if I needed different size whales and different lighthouses. Let's see if this one has any. Oh, okay. Well, it does. It has word strip stickers, but they're light blue. And I don't want to do light blue. So I am going to go to my standbys. Let me move this into my, this is pretty much my box. Oh, my mom's here. Where is she? Oh, hi, Mom. Hi, Lael. It's me, Mom. Hi, Mom. Colleen, or whoever said that. Somebody said, oh, yes, Colleen, thank you. Colleen said, Lael, your mom is here. And she put it in all uppercase. So I could see it. Mitzi said I'm tan. Well, interesting. I haven't done any kind of self-tan, and we didn't see a lot of the sun. We saw a little bit of the sun on our trip. We did some bike riding on our e-bikes that we took with us. That was really fun. So maybe I have a little bit of sun from there. Seagulls without a C. I know, Julie. I know, Julie. Seagulls without a C in Utah, question mark. Yes, we have the Great Salt Lake. The Great Salt Lake. So they like the Great Salt Lake. All right. Do we do white? I think we need to do a white down in the lower corner. So I'm using just the regular small talk. I have small talk, snarky, chit chat, clippings. There's lots of them. So let's see. Yes, I'll do a white one. Let's see. Today is full of possibilities. You can never have too much happy. Everything is beauty. Be open to whatever comes next. So what I'm looking for is, oh, okay, here we go. How about this one? Travel the world over to find the beautiful. That is perfect. So this is obviously way too long, right? So I'm going to do a couple things. First of all, I don't need the word over, right? I don't need the word over. Travel the world over to find the beautiful. I could just say travel the world to find the beautiful, right? So I don't have to keep the stickers the way they are. I can alter them. I can alter them obviously by making them shorter, by cutting them apart, but I can also even take out some of the words. Now let's see. Travel the world to find the beautiful. What if we put this here? I don't want to put these down quite yet. Well, let's see. Travel the world to find the beautiful. All right. So yes, that's a lot of words, right? I mean, I have a lot of words there, and there, but I'm okay with that because I just need something really small and subtle to fill in that kind of trapped white space that I have right there. That little place right there. That's something in the design world that's referred to as trapped white space. So I had basically created unintentionally this weird open space, and it's kind of trapped because it's trapped between what ends over here and what starts right here. So I also have a little bit of that going on right there. So I'll need to add something there to kind of fill in that spot. But for now, that'll work. Okay, we need to get to our stamping. Our stamping. Mitzi said, the Oregon coast is so beautiful. I live in Western Washington. Yes. Mitzi, where in Western Washington? What city? You don't have to give your address. What city? Oh, this little guy escaped from this little guy always sits in this has all my tools in it as I'm working, so they're easily at hand. But this little guy, Sam, yes, he's now 21 and a half. Some of you know Sam or feel like you do because he was helping me in the early days. But this was way back when, remember back, and I don't know, they might still be in, but way back when the kids were really into duct tape and they'd buy all the different colors of duct tape and patterns of duct tape and then they would make things. Yes, this is a creation that Sam made for me. It is a daffodil, right? That he made out of yellow and green duct tape. I don't know, he was maybe 10. Maybe 10. So that little guy has to just sit there with me too. But he fell out. So you could kind of see part of him. Not Sam, the daffodil pen. The duct tape daffodil pen. Okay. Mitzi said Vancouver. just over the Columbia River from Portland. Oh, lovely. Okay, so I need to do my stamping. I always do the exact same thing, but I think I might have to change it up just a little bit this time. I use that About Last Month, except I don't want that one. That is for photography. That is not for stamping. Let's put that away. It's clean. I need to use a dirty one. Oh, here we go. All right. So About Last Month. There. I use the About Last Month or Year in Review, same thing, stamp set. My backer is a little bit, I need to make that a little bit smaller because it's I'm having a hard time pulling that out. Oh, that just reminded me. That reminded me of something that I read on the back of a package of some new stamps that I just got. That reminded me to tell you that I have an order coming now from Everyday Explorers. So some of you know Everyday Explorers. Awesome company with some really fun stamps and some really fun lots of other things. But I think it shipped, what's today? The 20th, I think it shipped yesterday. So I'm very excited for that. Anyhow, I got sidetracked because I thought of something that they shared on the back of their packaging. Anyhow, I use the grid and kind of build out my little grid. So let's go ahead and get that ready. Karen said, plus it's okay to have a journal text dominant page because it's meaningful to the design as well as the story the page is based on. Absolutely. You guys, I always say my favorite kind of saying that I think applies to so many things in life, but especially what we do here together on Saturdays is you do you. Some of you might be looking at that going, oh my gosh, I would never use that collection, or oh my gosh, I would never put all those things there, or oh my gosh, I would never, which is totally okay because it is my list. It's not yours. And I would say the same thing back to you. There may be some things that you would love to do that other people look at it and go, oh, that's awful. What are you thinking? And some people are like that, right? They will literally tell you that. And you're like, really didn't ask your opinion. But if we always think you do you, then it doesn't matter, right? I think all of this stuff that we do is for us. It's not for anybody else. So if it makes you happy, then you should use it and do it and put it down and be happy. Karen said, I love and own several Everyday Explorer stamp sets. Love them. Yes. Oh yes. So Joe, just wait until the stamps come. Well, stamps and, oh my goodness, so many fun things. Maybe next week. I might get them posted next week. We'll see. I need to make sure that they get here first before I post. All right. So starting with the grid. First thing is, I'm just going to pull out what I need. I need the little grid. I need this little stamp that says About Last Month. I need 2022. And I need August, because that was the month. And I need the 0 and the 8. That's what I need to start with. If you are using this stamp set, you want to make sure that your stamping block is at least 4 inches wide. That is because of this little puppy, right? We need it to be 4 inches wide to accommodate the width of that little grid stamp. So from here, I'm going to take all these little guys off. And I need to be thinking before I kind of get this set up. When I pull this back in again, I can see that I am stamping on the left page, right? Or correct. I shouldn't say right. I should say correct. I'm stamping on the left page. So because my stamping block that I'm using here is a little bit wider, I want to be thinking about where I place all of the stamps. And this is I'm just going to throw it on there. I won't keep it there. I do not want to place it where I have it because as you see, I have all of this extra over here that's hanging off the side. Well, that's not going to give me a very good even impression because all of this will be hanging off the side. So I want to be starting over here instead, to the left on the back, a little bit more to the left of the stamp set. Or not the stamp set, the left of my little stamping block here. And these stamping blocks that I'm using, they're nested. So there are 4 different sizes that are part of that same set. And those I have on my website. All right, so it looks pretty even so far. And then we'll do a test stamp to make sure that everything looks good. So now, see the difference? Now when I stamp, I have a nice solid, well, solid-ish surface right there. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But then this that's hanging over the edge, that's not going to impede my stamping. It's not going to run into anything over here like it was over there. So that's a good start. Now we need the 08 because it was the 8th month. We'll put those there. Now, I am very spatially challenged. I always have to turn it over and look because it's hard for me to work backwards. Mirror image, I guess. Is that what we're doing? A mirror image? Whatever it is. But half the time I would put 80 there instead of 08. So that looks good so far. And then we need August goes here. Oopsie, that's upside down. Don't do that. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain cramp. Oh no, it's fine. Wow, I told you. I'm spatially challenged. That's the term I prefer to use. You could use spaz. I use the term, oh no, I'm sorry. Spaz is not, that is not an okay word. I know that. That is not a politically correct word. You could call me a dork. You could call me a ding-a-ling, a dummy, whatever. I call it spatially challenged. Yes, I learned recently that, I don't know, I think I read or saw on social media, and we don't need to go into, no one needs to chime in on their 2 cents about things being politically correct or incorrect or sensitivity or anything like that, but I'll just tell you why I said that I shouldn't use the word spaz, so I just put about last month there. I think it was Lizzo. I think it was like an article or an interview with Lizzo, and she had written a song that had the word spaz in it. And she got some feedback from some people that spaz can be a derogatory term to people that suffer from seizures. So I thought that was interesting. So there's my lovely roots in there. Sorry when you have to see the top of my head like that. But, and that never would have occurred to me. So I'll try to not use that word. Because I want to be, I don't want to make anyone feel bad. Whoopsie. I need to fix that. So let's talk about what happened there. These are photopolymer stamps, right? They're acrylic stamps. And sometimes you may notice with your acrylic stamps that they stop, or your photopolymer stamps, that they stop sticking either to your stamping block or to their little backer sheet. And nothing wrong with them. Well, there's a tiny thing wrong with them. The tiny thing wrong with them is that they get lint on the back, like little lint and dust and things like that, right? So I have a little bottle of rubbing alcohol that I keep here in my craft room, and that little rag, towel, whatever. And if you just rub the back, you can do that with water as well. On your stamps, when that happens, that takes away the lint, and now we're fine. It'll stick again. I know there are some of you that were with me on Thursday night, yeah, for my the September Traveler's Notebook Kit. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I need to announce the winners from our giveaway last time, or when we were together last. So before I do that really quick, yes, we had class on Thursday night for the September setup for the Fall Traveler's Notebook Kit. And my fingernails were a hot mess from our trip because lots of packing and unpacking the RV and just, lots of activities. So they were a hot mess. So I went yesterday and had them polished, gel taken off, repolished, but she had to trim my nails quite a bit because I had broken both of those. Look how short those are. Broken both of those, broken that one, so trimmed them all. And new gel. Okay, so let's talk about the winners. I totally had forgotten about that, even though it's here in my my workbook. The winners from the giveaway from 2 weeks ago. So I always do giveaways on our Saturday sessions because I think it's fun. I like to share. So 2 weeks ago, I said we'd do 2 giveaways. One was for the Fall Traveler's Notebook Kit, and that gives you the product to decorate your Traveler's Notebook for the months of September and October. And the winner of that was Beverly H. Beverly. So I had replied to Beverly's comment. Hang on, I just need to grab something. I had replied to Beverly's comment. letting her know that she won and how to claim that prize. I am going to do another one of those this week. So the way that you participate in the giveaways, you leave a comment on the video when it's over. So not in the chat, not in the live chat, just make a quick note that when the video is over, go back and leave a comment and I will draw a random lucky winner the morning of the next Saturday we're together. And that person will win a Fall Traveler's Notebook kit. So this was the setup for October and doesn't include the cover, just all the product needed to decorate. So that is October, and this was what we did for September. So Beverly won that kit, and that'll be a giveaway again for this week. There's also another giveaway, so don't be sad. Well, not don't be sad. Oh my goodness, my brain is confused. I didn't have my my second cup of coffee. This is funny. Hang on. I have usually 2 cups of coffee every morning. My second cup of coffee isn't quite done yet, so I'm gonna have a quick sip. I've also been waking up at like 5 a.m. every morning, so that might have something to do with it. What I meant to say was don't be sad if you didn't win because we had 2 giveaways last week. The second giveaway was for Washi Bundle, one of my, a bundle of my brand new washi tapes, 6 new washi tapes. And that one went to Shan's Girl, Shands Girl, Shan's Girl. And so we'll do 2 giveaways again this week. The Fall Traveler's Notebook Kit is one. I'll talk about the other one when we get there. And the way that you participate is leave a comment on the video itself when the video is over. Yes, Mitzi, hydration break. All right, so I have that set up. I have my grid set up. Now I need to decide what colors I want my grid to be, what colors I want to use when I'm stamping. So what I have been doing is kind of a double layer stamp. This one's a little bit hard to see. You can see the July is in that, I don't remember what that one was called. July was in one color and the like watercolor swatch over the top of it is in another color. So you really have a hard time seeing July. I think what I will do though, I think on this one, I'm just going to do a single layer stamp. So I'm going to use all one color. I won't do the second one just because I already have a lot of color going on this page. So I think I'm just going to make that pretty plain and simple. And I will use a navy. So let's see what navy that we want to use. I have my swatches of my inks. I use primarily Tim Holtz Distress Oxides, and I have swatched all of the colors that I have using my Swatch This inks stamp set. Now, this one is very used and loved, right? Because look at, you can tell that has been used many, many, many times. Eventually, your photopolymer stamps will discolor. It just because all of the ink will discolor the stamp itself, but it doesn't discolor, it doesn't affect the stamped image. So even though this one looks like it's kind of got a lot of orange on it, if I were to stamp that right now in a really light yellow, it would be light yellow. But that's the stamp set that I used. I mean, it's called Swatch This Inks. All right, so let's look. Now, Brooke had an idea. Brooke said gray. So I could use a gray if I wanted. I think I'm going to go with the blue, but I will show you a gray. I think that's it. That's white, picket fence. You can barely see that. This one, Hickory Smoke. Hickory Smoke is a really good neutral, especially if you don't want to use a black, but you don't want to bring a lot of color into something. Hickory Smoke is a really good one. But I think I'm going to look for a navy that's pretty similar to that, just so I get a little bit more color over here. I also don't want it to look too like red, white, and bluish. Like I don't want it to look too 4th of July because it's August. So I think if I just do a little bit of blue up there, it'll give me a little bit of color and we'll be good. Weathered wood, yeah, weathered wood is a little bit too greenish. All right, let's go to our blues. Let's go to our blues. This is why sometimes you think, oh my gosh, well, how many blues would a person need? Well, a lot. because these are all going to be different colors of blue, right? That's a little bit more teal, but tumbled glass, too light, broken china, totally wrong. Mermaid Lagoon. So Mermaid Lagoon is a little bit closer to that starfish, but way too like bright. Salty Ocean. Salty Ocean's nice. It matches some of the photos, but really doesn't match the blue there. Blueprint Sketch. That would, I mean, in a pinch it could work, but not quite that. Prize Ribbon could work, but I think it's going to be either Faded Jeans. I think it's probably going to be Faded Jeans or Chipped Sapphire. Ooh, maybe Chipped Sapphire. What do we think? Now, the one I don't have yet, I do not have the Mariner one yet. I haven't ordered the Mariner. So I don't know. The Mariner could work. I think it's called Ancient Mariner, maybe. Pat said, how do you get your oxide swatches to dry? So Pat, when I do these, I basically line them all up. And so I stamp one and they get all lined up on a table as they're drying, and then they just sit there. So that's what I do. Because it does take oxide a little bit to dry. I mean, not long, but a big solid impression like that. You also, if you are doing a bunch of them in a row like I did, you want to obviously clean the stamp between each of your stamped impressions. And I just use a baby wipe to do that. And then I'll take like a little fan and use a little fan to dry the stamp. You want the stamp itself to be completely dry before you stamp with a different color ink, or else you're going to get a really kind of splotchy, because there's water on it still, right? You're going to get a really kind of splotchy look. That's another video I still need to do, is kind of a quick tutorial on doing the ink swatches. Okay, but I think it's going to be Chipped Sapphire. That is what I want to do. So let me pull out my tray that would have the blues on it. There we go, Chipped Sapphire. So generally what I try to do, and this is just a little kind of organizing tip, if you have a lot of different ink colors and you are doing something like this where you're swatching your inks, good idea to keep your ink swatches in the order roughly as you have your inks stored, so that it's easy to find what you're looking for. Easy peasy. Hey, Sarah, are you still here? Sarah Foss, if you're still here. Products are rolling in for the, we had kind of talked about a little bit when we were last together, a really unique, very helpful, useful new little product that I am making based on something that my friend Amy recommended and shared with me to store, speaking of your inks, to store all of those little guys, right? Because if you're like me, you just have a pile of all of those little guys, your little daubers, and you also aren't sure which color is which. So products are rolling in for that, something that we kind of have to put together. But anyhow, that'll be next month too. Yes. Yes, Sandy said you can also stamp with 2 different shades of oxides to get the shade more like what you want. Absolutely, you can. You can do layering. In fact, what I had done on this stamp set, this was a little tip from my friend Vicky. So when I had designed the stamp set, I sent it to her and said, hey, you stamp a lot. What would be helpful? What would be some word stamps that might be helpful on this stamp set? Because I had the things like color, brand, type, and what she came up with is mix. So if you are mixing 2 colors, layering 2 colors to kind of make your own color, and then you swatch that, you would swatch that and then just use the mix and say which 2 that you mixed. Okay, so we've picked our color. We're going to use Chipped Sapphire. So I pulled out a little, this is my little stamping notebook, sketching little notebook thing. Okay, so this is where I do all my testing, and there's a couple of reasons why you want to test. First off, there's really 2 ways, well, probably more than 2 ways, but 2 main ways to get your ink on the stamp. You can either apply your ink to the stamp, like I'm doing, okay, or I'm not done yet. You can apply your stamp to the ink. I find it much easier to apply my ink to the stamp, excuse me, because especially when I have a large stamping block like this, it's going to make it a lot easier for me to control. So I'm just trying to make sure I get everything fully coated. And now I'm going to just do a test stamp. So okay, stop the presses. Stop the presses. We got to get that cleaned up. That could be disaster, right? That could be disaster. Well, not really, but really, how much disaster could it be? We're just playing, but I could end up with ink all over something. Baby wipes in your workspace are very handy to have. Very handy to have. So let's put that back. Now, I'm not going to be totally inky here because it'll have dried a tad, but, well, I need a towel. Oh, I know. Let's use this little thing. Let's just use this little thing. All right, because I don't want that to be totally wet. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. What's funny is if I was recording this for a video, I probably wouldn't even edit that out because it's just stuff happens, right? Okay. So what I'm doing here is I have done a test stamp. Well, I've applied my ink and I want to do a test stamp for a couple of different reasons. Number one, you may not have noticed, but that August stamp, I hadn't used that yet. So you always want to prime your stamps before you use them. Photopolymer stamps have a really thin coating on them. You can't see it, but there's a really thin coating. So if you want primed your stamp first, that coating, you'll get a different image, a different impression than maybe you're looking for. Sometimes it's kind of splotchy. It looks weird. It looks like your ink didn't settle where it needs to set. That could be one of the reasons why. So always good idea to prime first. And I prime just by stamping first because then I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone as I'm checking some other things that we'll talk about. You can also, I've heard people take like an eraser. You could take an eraser on a brand new stamp that you have not stamped with yet and just kind of erase over the top. That'll also get rid of that, that top layer. All right, so that's the first reason. Make sure my stamp is primed. Second reason, I want to make sure things are lined up correctly. Well, everything looks pretty good except for this one. Except for that one, right? See how the O is way higher than the 8. And I might have been able to see that before, but I can really see it now. So what I want to do is I'm just going to try to get some of that ink off. Come back and lift up that O, the 0, it's not an O. Lift up the 0 and kind of replace it so it's a little bit lower, right? So it's not so out of where it's supposed to be. All right. But everything else looks good, right? 08, August 2022, about last month. So all those things are where they need to be. The only other thing I might do is I think I'm going to bring August down a little bit more because it seems like it's kind of floating. Although, kind of floating by the 8, but it's okay. So we'll just move that a tad down, like so. Now, because I've moved things around, I'm going to do a test stamp again. Also, I can, because that's crooked, I'm also testing the color, right? To make sure that that's the color I want. And I like the color, so the color will work. All right, there we go. Let's do test stamp again. But another reason to test stamp, if you are spelling a word with single letter stamps, that's a really good way to make sure that you've spelt the word correctly, maybe not missed a letter or swapped 2 letters. Because the last thing you really want to do is, find that out when you've stamped on your project. So I'm a big proponent of test stamping. What size of the TN covers you are using for your concerts inserts? The cover is, it is an A6. Okay, Karen, that's an A6. Joining a little late from Highland, Illinois. Hi, Diana. Okay, so here we go. I think we're looking pretty good. My O is still a little bit off, but that's okay. I'm not going to let that bug me. We're good to roll. So put that away. And now we need to stamp here. So I have a little problem. And it's a problem that we all run into. As I am stamping directly to my page right here, I have all of this other stuff going on underneath it, right? So it is not, even if I pull out those clips, it is not going to be level or even. And I also have kind of this curve going on. Now the curve we can kind of help a little bit, but not a ton. What I can use to try to give myself a flat surface here to stamp on. This could also go for writing. Some people will use something like this for writing, but it's called a pencil board. So I was talking earlier about a pencil board and that I was having my own pencil boards made. So they are, I just saw the final artwork yesterday. And they will go into production probably this coming week. I'll have them next month. Not sure yet when, but I'll have them next month. So in the meantime, I'm going to use this lovely pencil board that Nancy Gullison made for me and sent me. So she just used a really thick piece of cardboard and then covered it with some pattern paper. But the whole idea of a pencil board, oh, yes. Brooke, I'm going to talk about that in a second because I'm about ready to cause myself a problem on the page before. The whole idea of a pencil board is to give you a flat surface to stamp on. So I would take a pencil board and I would just slide this right behind wherever I need to stamp. And now I have a nice flat surface. So the pencil boards that I'm making will be this thick. They will be 1/8 inch thick. They'll have rounded corners. They will have a grid on them, 1/2 inch grid. And then they'll have little lail by mail and scatter on them. So those are coming and they'll be 5 by 8, a little bit smaller than 8, which is the size that we need for our travel show books. So those will come out next month. Brooke brought up a very good question. Brooke said, does ink bleed through? It can, Brooke, it absolutely can. Depends on a couple things. Depends on the type of ink you're using. The inks that I like to use, the Distress Oxides, I call them a juicy ink. And that's just my personal, that's just what I call them because I like a juicy ink. A juicy ink gives me a very nice, solid stamped impression. Like when I am here, that favorite is stamped with Distress Oxide. It looks like, almost looks like a sticker, right? Or stickers. It's a nice, gives me really good, solid coverage. And that's what I like about using a Distress Oxide ink. Juicy, more pigment in the ink because it's a pigment-based ink, so it can bleed through. When we look at my little stamping here, you can see that, see all those things that are bleeding through? And that is inevitable in a lot of cases. Now, it depends on the ink, also depends on the paper, the thickness of the paper. These inserts are, I think they're 100 GSM, so they're a good thickness, but it's not like stamping on a piece of Basil cardstock, not that thick, right? So you will see some shadowing or bleed through. Not really bleed through, I'm going to call it shadowing. So I'm going to look for an example. Oh, you know what? You won't. Oh, here we go. Here we go. You can see it here. So do you see how you can see the shadowing of that currently stamp on the back page? Let me pull that up to make sure you can see it. But there is some shadowing. So it's not really bleed through, but it's shadowing. You can see what that said. It says currently backwards, right? Can you kind of see that? So I'm not done with this list yet. I will have to put something up here, or I will, you don't have to, but I'll put something up there so you won't really see it. This will kind of be like that. Now, I always suggest before you stamp, you look at what is on the back side of what you're stamping on. I'm going to stamp here. It just so happens that what I have here is a list where I'm working directly on the insert itself. So I am going to see a little bit of shadowing through. If I was doing this again, I would probably either make sure that my list here was something like this, where the base of my list is on a piece of pattern paper. Then I wouldn't see the shadowing because it would be underneath that. Or I would have skipped a page and done this list right here, so that I wouldn't be interfering with the list behind. So always, always, always a good idea before you start something. I didn't in this case, but always a good idea. Look to see what is prior so you don't kind of mess up what's prior. But We're doing it. We're doing it. Okay, so now I need to come back again and ink up. Turn it this way. I'm getting a little bit of ink on my stamping block, but that's okay. I will come in very quickly and just clean that off, just so I don't have any, don't get any of that on. I want to do this pretty quickly because I don't want that ink to, it won't completely dry, but it will lose some of its oomph. All right, now, oh, really quick. I should know this before. 1, 2, 3, 4. I always start 4 lines down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just make a quick mark so I can see where that is. And let's go ahead and stamp. So having that pencil board there will really help. And I want to line that up about like that. And I don't want to be timid when I'm doing this, okay? I don't want to be timid when I'm doing this because the more timid you are when stamping, for me at least, that's when I tend to mess up. If I'm like, oh, and then you just want to go, all right? So you just want to go in and go. Now, here's the thing. If I mess that up, okay, oh, I did a little bit, didn't I? On my about last month. Well, it's just going to have to be that way because I don't have a color pen. I probably have a color pencil that I could make that work, but it's not bad enough that it looks horrible. I'll figure out how to fix it with a colored pencil, actually. Oh, yeah, maybe. If I had one of the new stamp sets that's coming out, this would be much easier to do. I need to try to find that color. And the next stamp set, one of the next stamp sets that's coming out, the Swatch this, is swatching pens and pencils. So if I had these already swatched, I'd be able to look at my swatches and go, oh yeah, that'd work perfectly. So let me come back in and see. Oh yeah, see that won't work, way too blue. Let's see if I have one. Now I have about 8,000 different colored pencils, so not really 8,000, but maybe it's this guy. Oh yeah, no, look at, all of those have way too much. What the heck? Come on. Why isn't there a navy in one of these, guys? Yeah, isn't that interesting? All right, well, I won't keep doing that because I have lots of other colored pencils. Oh, okay, hold on. Maybe I just didn't go far enough. I have lots of other colored pencils that I can choose from, look at. Nope, purple. Maybe towards this end. Two blue. Okay, one more. Let's try these other two and we'll see if we get it. And if not, then I'll just do this later. But I wanted to show you how I would try to fix this. Yeah, none of them are quite right, are they? Oh, maybe this guy, Indigo Light. That's probably close. We'll make it work. So the way I'm going to try to fix this is, and I say try, right? I say try. I will come in with my pencil and just kind of fill that in. It's not quite going to look right, but it'll be close. Not quite the same color. I would love it if Tim made distress ink pens that were the same colors. Wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, I know he makes some pens, but I don't think they're distress ink pens with the colors. So it's not as obvious that way. And I could fill that in too. Now, if I had really messed that up and I made it blurry or dropped the stamp or something like that, I wouldn't have to cry. I wouldn't be sad. All I would do is take a piece of white cardstock and I would stamp that again on a piece of white cardstock and just adhere it right over the top. And you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know why I did that. Let's see. Yep, Karen said use letter stickers instead of stamping, right? Which on this one I wouldn't do that just because this is this is always my format every month, so I would always use this stamp. But you could, if you didn't want things to bleed through, You could use letter stickers there or do what I just said and stamp on your piece of paper and you'd be good. Cover it up. All right, so there we go. Now is when I start my listing. Wow, that's a long time, huh? Now is when I start my listing. Let me put these couple things away. And let's just get this off to the side. I need to clean that, but not yet. Start my listing. What I like to do is I like to use a bullet stamp. I like to use my bullet stamp in between all of my items on my list. So when we look back here, that is one of the bullet stamps. And I just add that little bullet stamp in between all of the different things on my list. So I will do that here. Let's pick which one we'd like to use. Now, if I do the star, so there is a little star, but that may be a little bit too, that may seem a little bit too like red, white, and blue 4th of July-ish. So I don't think I will do that. I think I will do, and where is it? Where is it? I was going to do that one. And it's not there, which means I left it somewhere. But have no fear. Have no fear. Because somewhere I have, there we go. I tend to, when we get going on Saturdays, not put things away. And that is one of the hazards of that, right? No, my little dot bullet, my little circle bullet. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use my little stamping stylus for that. So I'll talk about that guy in a second. And I think I don't want to do red. I really don't want to do red because I think red will be like really in your face, especially when we have all the red here. And then I also don't want it to look so 4th of July-ish. So what I think I'm going to do, Brooke had mentioned before, what about gray? So what if we use that gray hickory smoke? So I could use hickory smoke as my little bullet in between all the little things on my list. So let's go back to our test. We'll just double check and make sure we like it. I put that little bullet stamp on the end of a little stylus, and that's one of my products. It's called a stamping stylus. So it's a 6-inch long piece of acrylic and sized for your little teeny bullet stamps. Makes it super easy to take one of your little bullet stamps. You can see I'm just tapping that into the ink and stamping. So one of the things I found, well, first off, I decided I needed to make some bullet stamps because they're great for listing. But then when I made them, they're so small that I was having a hard time, even with this little tiny, my little tiny stamping block. It was just kind of hard to hold and maneuver with this little guy. So I was using this little guy and putting my stamp on there, but that's kind of big and clunky for just such a little, sorry, I flipped that up. I didn't mean to flip that off. Or you guys, sorry. Oh, what am I saying now? I got totally sidetracked with the flip off. Anyhow, this makes it really easy to do that. So you just put it on the end. That started out with an idea from Lavon Wood. And when I first came out with these, she said, hey, you know what? If you put your little stamp on the end of a pen and then do that, that worked really well. So I did that for a little while. And then Sarah Foss, during one of our sessions, said, Leah, why don't you make a tool that makes it super easy for you to do? Because then that way it's a nice, sleek little piece of acrylic and you're not trying to find the right pen or that little thing getting in the way on your pen or whatever. So anyhow, and that is what I'm using. And Terry said in all uppercase, this is a must-have tool from Lael. It's you guys like it. I'll tell you that much. You guys like it based on how they're selling. Joe Disney fan said, do you ever use red or just at Christmas time? You know what? I don't use red a lot. I don't. Probably in February. If I had my insert out for February, I bet my about last month had red. But I don't use a lot of red. I don't know why. Nothing wrong with red. I just don't. Okay. So let's get back to our list now, because really, that's why we're here. That's why I'm here. No, I'm here for lots of reasons. I'm here to hang out with you guys. All right. So ahead of time, I used my workbook to write my list, because I can't just remember offhand whatever I need. Oh yeah, not that one. Let's grab the Sharpie. So there are some non-trip related things that I did. I did the 3 craft chicks retreat in Spokane. I taught at that. And then also taught at the virtual one. Went straight from there, flew into Salt Lake. Nick and 2 friends picked me up literally from the airport. We drove up to Sun Valley, Idaho area for a memorial for a dear family friend. So Tom Beck Memorial. So I am just listing. Now, I didn't do another one right there because it was the start of a new one and I didn't want to do 2, one below each other, if you were wondering why I did that. Nick, Las Vegas on a work trip. So really, this is just a run-on of a bunch of things that happened over the month. I did 3 classes. My Disney TN, Disney mini book, and travel mini book. And then I just keep going. Oh, here we go. Now we did, this is now really most of it, the rest of our trip, 12-day road trip to the Oregon coast. We did, oh my gosh, 6 states. That was crazy. 6 states. So traveling from Utah through Nevada, into California, into Oregon, into Washington, and then into Idaho. So it was a lot. We did, let's see, 50 hours, 47 minutes, and 19 seconds of drive time. Because Nick set the thing on the RV, so we knew the drive time. That's a lot of driving. We traveled for, oh, I didn't want to put that there. Oh, well. 2399.8 miles. Okay. So then now I just have a whole bunch of stuff that I am listing about kind of that trip. We did Glass Beach at Fort Bragg, which is that picture. And oh my heavens, if you are into sea glass, beach glass, that is amazing. And probably the easiest way for me to explain that is to say, if you're on social media, go on my Instagram or go on Facebook, either Lail by Mail Facebook page or the Lail by Mail Facebook group, and you'll see, and I talk all about that. But amazing, amazing, amazing. Let's see, we did, we rode our e-bikes along the cliffs, along the ocean, which, oh my goodness, was so much fun. We did, oh my gosh, there's just so many things. We went with another couple, friends of ours, Carrie and Karen. So Nick and Carrie golfed at a place called Bandon Dunes, which is one of the, I don't know, in the top 10 golf courses in the US. If you're a golfer, I guess that's pretty spectacular. I am not a golfer. Vicki Powell, you are not able to take any of the class. Well, I should say it is very much frowned upon. And there's no law that says you can't take the glass. But apparently the amount of glass that is there now has dwindled significantly in like the last 20 or 30 years because people go and take the glass. So it's one of those things that if people take the glass, then eventually there will be no glass, and then there's nothing for anyone to see. It's like if you chop down all the trees in the Redwood Forest, then there's nothing for anyone to see. So I'd like to think that people are pretty good about not taking the glass, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Okay, so oh my gosh, we saw 3 lighthouses. Oh, and I totally skipped. I don't know what I was thinking. I totally just skipped. I skipped on my list from from Glass Beach. I skipped Redwood Forest and went straight to Oregon. Redwood Forest, amazing. Another bucket list. Redwood Forest and the Avenue of the Giants. Redwood Forest, Redwood National Park is very different than other national parks because there's really no like entrance and exit. There's no entrance fee. You don't have to pay to go because it is huge. I mean, the Redwood Forest is humongous. You can just kind of drive through it, but which makes it a little bit different because there are some destination spots like the Avenue of the Giants is amazing. But different, a little bit different than your typical, I don't know even if there is a typical national park, but amazingly, stunningly beautiful. Duchess's Journal. Hello. Duchess's Journal said, question, you rather road trip or taking a plane? I love road trip is better for me. So here's the thing, and welcome. Here's the thing about this kind of trip, at least for us. We had 3 very distinct areas that we wanted to see. We wanted to go to Fort Bragg to see Glass Beach. From there, we wanted to go to Redwood Forest, and from there, we wanted to go up the Oregon coast. So on a trip like that, you could do it via plane. It'd be really difficult to do it via plane because you'd still have to do a ton of driving. So we like to do road trips, and last year we bought an RV very specifically for that, so we could road trip. So, but don't get me wrong, I love traveling and taking planes places. I think it just, for us, that would be a totally different kind of trip. Okay, so I'm going to just finish this up really quick. Oh my goodness, so much. So in Port Orford, we had dinner at a place called Redfish. And then we went to Hawthorne Gallery. That is a gallery that my uncle happens to have some work in. Although they were sold out of all of his work, so that was kind of a bummer, but that was okay. Oh my gosh. Then there's so many things. So many things. A lot of we did Whale's Head. We did Arch Rock. So that's what you see here. So, well, I'll just show you. There we are in our little RV. Beach, Fort Bragg, Seagulls or Glass Beach. There's redwoods looking up from the bottom. That is Whale's Head. That is one of the many lighthouses that we saw. This is one of our e-bike outings that we actually went and saw friends that live in Hood River, and they took us on a really fun e-bike ride. This, I don't remember where that is. That was on my birthday, and the whole trip looked like this. And even this, super misty, foggy. But on my birthday, that happened. So it was like totally different view of everything, which was amazing. Joe Disney fan said, I would do the road trip in an RV rather than a plane. So much more to see that way and plenty of legroom. Yeah, that's another nice thing about this kind of trip, at least for us. We could basically take as long as we wanted-ish. We had a start date and end date, but we could, as we were driving, pull over when we wanted, stop when we wanted, go when we wanted. So that was kind of fun. All right. So I have way more things to add to my list, really, than I have room for. Even if I hadn't done this, I would have way more. Oh my gosh, there's just so many things. So we had a gorgeous beach day with sun. on my birthday. We grilled hot dogs, well, sausages with grilled hot dogs on the beach. And whales. We did see whales. We saw whales. You could see whales out in the distance. You could see the whales spouting. And every once in a while, you could just see this little part come out of the water, which I was so happy because I love to see whales. That was kind of a fun little birthday happening there. We had dinner. We met, let's see, dinner with Jack and Kat, Jack and his girlfriend. Jack is our older son, and they live in Tacoma. So they drove down and they met us for dinner, the northern part of Oregon. Oh my gosh, just so many things. Then we did Hood River. River, and then I'm just going to do this, Tom and Shelley. All right, so that is a very much abbreviated list of our trip. Kathy Mittman, what kind of e-bike do you have? It is on my list. It's called Ride One Up. Ride One Up, and they have fatter tires for, so you can not, I won't necessarily say do mountain biking, but you could do trails and things like that and go over big rocks. Because we knew that really the primary reason, I'm going to just talk a little bit while I clean up from this list. The primary reason why we that we wanted to do e-bikes was because our RV is one unit, right? It drives. We're not towing anything. So it makes it a little bit more difficult when you go set up somewhere than if you want to leave to go somewhere from that. You either walk or you walk because you don't have, the car is is part of the RV. The driving is part of the RV. So e-bikes that we could hop on and go to dinner or whatever we needed to do, depending where we were. We do a lot of boondocking, which means we do a lot of, not this trip. This trip was not that at all, but we do a lot of boondocking in our RV where we just like go in the middle of nowhere. And in that case, we wanted our e-bikes to be able to kind of go off-road a little bit. So that's why we chose what we did. All right. That is our first list, friends, about last month for August. Whew. Okay, next up, we have two more lists. I think what I am going to do, we'll just keep going with what I planned. I mean, I wouldn't stray from what I planned. It's just whether we're going to do one list before another. It's getting warm, so I need to bring my fan in. Hang tight, and I need to plug it in. I mean, I don't need to bring it in. It's already in here. I just need to get it close to me. I need to get it close to me. All right, so curious. Did you guys do it about last month? I know some of you do that with me. I'm just curious if you're listing with me today, if you did an about last month. And if so, what was one of the things on your about last month list? So we talked about what you are doing today. Oh, I know. The one thing I really wanted to add to that list that I didn't add because I ran out of room, I'll add it next month. When I was teaching at the retreat in Spokane with 3 craft chicks, Gabby, one of the ladies that was there, one of the attendees, was telling me about this thing that she's been doing called Step Bet. STEPBET, Step Bet. And it's an app, for sure on Apple, iPhone. I would assume it's also on Android, but it's called Step Bet. And basically, there are different challenges that are happening all of the time. Gracie, yes, Gracie's listing with me. Awesome, awesome. I'm scrolling for a minute, friends, so here we go. So basically, you go to this app, and there are step challenges. And you can join them. I think there's a fee for all of them, but let me explain the fee. So the one that we did, and I convinced Nick to do it with me, it is a 6-week challenge, and you pay $40. If you meet the challenge, then at the end, you get your $40 back, but you also get back, you split the pot with everybody else that met their challenge. You split what's left over from the people that didn't meet their challenge. So basically, it hooks into either your phone or your Apple Watch or your Fitbit or whatever device you use, and it tracks your steps. It does a quick algorithm calculation to look at your past history on whichever device that you use, to basically tell you, this is how many steps that you need to do every day for 4 days. This is how many steps above and beyond, like a kind of a greater number that you need to do for 2 days, and oh, you get 1 day off. So I bring all of this up to say, because it was a very, very, very big part of this trip. And I was so glad that Monday, we start the 4th week of the 6 weeks. And I was so glad we were doing that because we were doing so much driving, and we'd get out and look at things and then back in the, but a lot of driving. It really helped us focus on making sure that we were getting a lot of walking in. Now, for the most part, except for 1 day, blew all of the numbers out of the water because we were doing just a lot of walking. But as we started our trip back home, we were like 5 and 6 hours a day just driving, nothing else. It really helped us focus on, okay, we're going to stop, we're going to get out of the car, we're going to walk around for 15 minutes and then get back in. So that's been a really fun thing that that Gabby from that retreat introduced me to, and I've enjoyed it. Let's see. Ms. L said, wrote out my list and we'll finish it up later. TK, I'm caught up through July. Good for you with her about last month. So she's been working with us right along. Dawn said, yes, listing with you. Granddaughter started 2nd grade last month. Oh, that's exciting. Miss Waddell, road trip. Oh, that's right. You were working on it during your road trip, you told me. And yes, did my about last month. Camping this weekend. I have a few inputs for my trip too. Very good. Kathleen said, watching live for the first time in forever. Oh, I'm so glad you're able to join us live today, Kathleen. Nancy, so many things. Youngest turned 23. We got a new kitten. My oldest daughter had surgery. All good. Plus, plus, plus. So many blessings. And I love what I love about this project. It just kind of makes you sit down and reflect. And it doesn't have to be like some super introspective reflection. It can be if that's you. That's not me. So I'm just kind of making a list about the things that happened. When the year's over, then I can go back and I know not exactly what happened, but I've got a really good recap of what happened every month. And then in January, I do a whole about last year. So one spread that just kind of pulls different things from the months. All right, let's look. Pam said, yes, I love listing along with you. My husband got COVID for his 60th birthday. Well, what kind of present is that? Celebrated my son and his fiance at their engagement party. So congratulations, Pam. And I hope that your husband is doing okay. Terry said, I'm caught up in July. August is not over yet. Yeah, I know. I kind of jumped the gun on that one, but we won't be together again for 2 weeks. Okay, so I am going to, now we're moving to our second list. Our second list is in the news. Now, in the news, we had started out the year doing in the news every month. And that was my thought. Well, I'll do an in the news list every month, and it will be a kind of a recap like this, but different, because it won't be about me. It will be about what's happening in the news. So I have a couple versions of that I will share. Couple of them are not finished yet. This is one that is not finished. I always use the same stamp set for this one as well. That's called In the News. I think there's one more in this that is also not finished. This guy is, oh yeah, there we go. There's another In the News. So that is the next list that we are going to do. Mimi, so kind, emailed, and I mean this very sincerely. I'm not poking fun at Mimi, but emailed, I think it was Mimi. Emailed, or Nancy. Anyhow, someone emailed and said, hey, are we going to do a list soon on In the News? Because the last time we did it was in May. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the last time we did it was in May. So that's the next list I'm going to do, and it will be for August. So I am skipping the months of June and July for In the News. But if you want to go back and do those, you can do those. But I am going to move on to August. Let's see. Irene is unloading groceries, so just listening today. Last month, my son got a job at PepsiCo. Oh, congratulations. You also went to Monterey for a girls' trip. Irene, Monterey, so that part of the California coast is on my bucket list. Also haven't done that one. So Joe Disney fan said, maybe do a list of good book suggestions to read. Which, you know what? I think that will kind of tie into, we can totally do that. We can totally do that. Let me just, I need to add it to my workbook, because we did we've done a favorite books list. We might have even done a currently reading list, but we can do, like a watch list, like we need to finish up next week. So we'll call this a to read list. And I love doing those kinds of lists because that's where I get a ton of ideas from you guys in terms of, oh, what do I want to read? Yes. So we'll do that in the next, over the next couple sessions. We'll probably do that, I don't know, maybe in about a month. All right. In the news. So for in the news, I always use, well, since I released it, the in the news stamp set. And that's what this one was designed for. Before I had released that in the news stamp set, I was always trying to combine the in the news stuff with the about last month stuff. And it just got to be too much. There was too much that I wanted to cover about what happened in my life in the about last month that I didn't really have enough room for both. So I thought, well, I'll just make a stamp set for about, or for in the news, and that'll be fun to do. So that is the in the news stamp set. You have this fun typewriter. You have a title in the news. You also have a couple of others, breaking news. And then your in the news could be this week, this month, this year. You could do currently, you could do today. You have some icons over here. And then you even have some typewriter key numbers. So I usually use this for in the news. You guys use it for in the news, but some of you do some really cool things with it. And this just happened to come this week. Diane Jenkins, want to make sure I get that right because I was thinking Diane Marnes before. Look at what she sent me. Look at this birthday card. Is this not the cutest thing ever? So this has nothing to do with in the news, right? She created, I think she embossed, did some heat embossing with the typewriter because I can see because it's kind of shiny. She put it on yellow, stamped it on yellow cardstock, and then lifted it up with some foam stickers. And then look what she did. She either typed out, she probably typed it out on, computer paper. Probably did it on her computer, typed that out, all that happy birthday to you, and then put it like it's coming out of the typewriter. Isn't that like the cutest thing ever? Now, I was looking at it and I thought, oh shoot, it got bent. But it didn't get bent. That was part of the way that she did the card. So it really looks like the paper is coming out of the typewriter. So I thought that was just so clever. And that stamp set, you could use happy birthday, you could do miss you. I mean, really any type of card that you send, you just, type whatever that is on your computer paper, on your computer, type it out on your computer, print it out, and then have your sentiment coming up the top. And then you can totally customize it with whatever color you're stamping on in your background. But I thought that was just darling. A good idea for something that was not in the news. Now, my friend Amy also took the stamps and she did something fun. And she posted this in the Lail by Mail Facebook group. And we talked about this when I started the last in the news list. So what she had done, she had used that same typewriter stamp. She just put the adhesive behind the sides and the bottom. And I think she might have even used a little bit of maybe foam tape under hers. But then left the top open for a pocket. Then look at the library cards. Your library cards, ding, 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 fit right in there as well. So just kind of some fun, different ideas on how you could use that stamp set for something other than the in the news that we do. Karen said, OMG, I love that card. Super cute and really a great idea. Any type of paper and colors can make it a while new project for sure. Yes, absolutely. Melissa said, where on the website is the list of dates we'll be having these Saturday sessions? I can't find it. It went out in the email on Thursday, Melissa, so I haven't added it to the website yet. So I will, I just need to do a blog post, and I will do a blog post later today with that. And then going forward for the rest of the year, the last couple of months I've been including information kind of for the month on what the dates are, but going forward for the rest of the year, it will have that information for the next 4 months, September, October, November, December. All right, so my in the news, also using photos. So I also did a 5x7, and I've been using the same format for my in the news. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 photos that I am using. Obviously, none of these are my photos, right? I've never met Olivia Newton-John, although I wish I had the opportunity to do that. I certainly have never met that man and his Zhao. I can't pronounce his name. Al Zawa. I can't pronounce his name. Anyhow, bad guy. And I haven't met. Oh, never. Okay. Let me stop right here. When we do in the news, and I thought this was one of the best suggestions that I have ever had. The first time when I came out with the stamps and said, hey, we're going to do in the news as one of our lists, someone sent me an email and she said, I'd like to, is it okay if I give you some feedback? And I said, well, then she did, but absolutely, I was totally open to it. She said, I'm a little bit concerned that when you do an in the news list, that this is such a fantastic place to be, the chat, right? What? You're done with what? Oh, awesome, dear. Okay, sorry. My sweet husband, Nick, has been packing some orders while I've been on today. So he just came in to say that he's done. So that was awesome. Nick's part-time gig, right? Part-time gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were packing orders last night too. Karen Haynes, I have A6TN covers on my website. So you can find them on my website. Okay, what was I? Oh, I know. So bottom line is when news can be very polarizing. It can be very political. It can be very sad. It can be very happy, right? There's all kinds of things that evoke all different kinds of emotions in the news. Especially politics and especially polarization, right? Because we know everyone has different viewpoints. So I always, when we do this kind of list, like to caveat, I will refrain from any kind of comments other than things like Olivia Newton-John died. Well, if you don't like Olivia Newton-John, then in the chat, I would not expect anyone to go, oh my gosh, Olivia Newton-John. And I say Olivia Newton-John because that's an easy one, because that really is not controversial at all. Well, it shouldn't be, right? Well, actually, that one can even be controversial. Anyhow, so as I am listing, all I'm doing is I'm just saying Olivia Newton-John died. The FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. Gas prices have decreased. Alex Jones has to pay $4 million to the parents of the Sandy Hook victims. So all of the things here, I'm keeping very factual. These are just things that are on my list. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, Olivia Newton-John. Keeping that nice. So as we proceed, I just ask that in the comments if everyone would do the same and refrain from any kind of pros or cons or negatives or positives or hooray, I'm really glad that X happened, or like, it's great that prices decreased, but then don't get in. Yeah. So we just don't want to get into any of the, why the prices went up, why they went down, all of that. All right. But I really very much appreciated the feedback that woman sent. That sounds horrible when I say that woman, but the person that emailed me and said, I just really hope that people in the chat, it doesn't get political, because I don't think anyone wants to be here for that. And I said, yes, you are 100% right. So I will always remember. And if I forget, you guys help me remember that I want to say that every time, just prior to doing this list. I could say, oh my goodness, that place on the beach is beautiful. It is. That place on the beach, that could be a place on any beach, right? Although probably not so much the Oregon coast, because it doesn't look like that. Yeah. And unfortunately, there's a lot, well, I guess it's just maybe what I choose to put on my lists, my in the news list. There's probably a lot of, well, there's probably some happy things that you could find to put on your list that were in the news. But the things that tend to be on my list are kind of the bigger things, probably a little bit more, the more controversial things, because they're really the things that are in the news. So. I always struggle with, this is just the facts, ma'am, right? Just the facts, ma'am. Brooke, and I will get political on that one. I loved Olivia Newton-John too. I mean, she was just, yeah, it's very sad that she passed away. Okay. Carolyn said, I so respect the way you do handle the in the news. Love this community. Thank you, Carolyn. That's really important to me because I want to make sure that people feel that this is a good, safe place and they don't have to worry about coming to a place that, you know, people are chatting about one thing or the other, or yeah. All right, so here we go. There's the start of my in the news, and these are all photos that I, once I came up with my list. Generally the way that I work on this list throughout the month is I have a note on my phone. And every time, like in the morning, if I'm watching the Today Show, I also get a couple of different news feeds. And if there's a headline on the news feed, I go, oh, that would be a good one. That'll be a good one. And I just throw them onto the note on my phone. Then when I sit down to make my list, before we start, of the things that are going to be on my list, then that's when I narrow it down. But I find it's a lot easier for me if I keep track of those things throughout the month as they happen versus waiting until the end of the month and being like, oh my gosh, and then trying to go back and figure out what happened over the month. So that's the way I do it. Then once I've picked the things, and I always do 8 photos on this list, so I pick 8 things that I want photos for, then I go to Google and I Googled Olivia Newton-John. And there were a bunch of photos of Olivia Newton-John that popped up, and I pick one, save it to my phone, and then I use that exact same app for this that I did on this one. That's the Epson Creative Print app. The Epson Creative Print app only works with Epson printers. So if you are looking for an app that will help you to do something like this, the Epson Creative Print app is not it unless you have an Epson printer. There are other free apps that are out there, and that is also a free app that will help you do that. You don't have to know how to print small photos because that's a 5x7. I didn't print a small photo. I just used the app to place those photos from my camera roll on there. Okay, so there we go. So one of my biggest challenges, and I'm trying to figure out how to wrap my head around this. One of my biggest challenges when I go to do this list is that a lot of it's really heavy, right? It's just the news. Karen, I am hopelessly devoted to you, your lives and style, Lil. Thank you, Karen. Hopelessly devoted to you was Olivia Newton-John song. I think that one was from Grease, right? Oh, we could go for hours on all of her songs. And Grease and Xanadu. I love Xanadu, the roller skating movie. And she sung so many of those songs. Ooh, so did, I think she was in it. Was she in it? And then ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, also lots of the music in Xanadu. I need to figure out where to watch Xanadu because I'm sure Netflix has it or something like that because that'd be a fun one to revisit. All right, so anyhow, a lot of this is really heavy, right? It's heavy stuff. Brooke, perfect. Brooke said it's your list. You do you, like we talk about. You do you. Whatever's on your list is on your list. So it's all really heavy stuff. So I'd like to add something over here other than just black and white, right? I mean, I could, nothing wrong with that. I mean, some of my in the news lists are really plain. This one I'm not done with yet. But I'd like for them all not to be black and white. They could, but I don't really want them to all be black and white. So then I'm like, so what should I do? Am I getting too caught up in, well, I can't put flowers over here because now we're talking about monkeypox. And we're talking about 113 million, oops, forgot 100 million year old dinosaur tracks that now they've discovered in Texas because of the water, the drought there, drought with wherever that was covered, or gas prices or whatever. So then I'm like, well, is it weird to do that? And then I decided, you know what? I really don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want. So, oh, Joe Disney fan. Okay. You can rent Xanadu. Anyone looking to rewatch Xanadu, or if you haven't seen Xanadu yet, just keep in mind it's probably from like the early 80s. So, you know, it's just early 80s. And Marilee said it too. You can rent it on Amazon Prime for $3.99, and that will be a good $3.99 spent. You think I can get Nick to watch that with me? Probably not. So I'll have to watch it on my own or watch it with some friends or something. Okay. So what I pulled out, and this is the collection I'm going to use on the next 2 lists. It's called Antique Garden. Now, some of you that have been around for a while may recognize this, K & Company. So K & Company has been around for gazillion years. I mean, a really long time. K & Company is owned by American Crafts. And American Crafts released under the K & Company brand this antique garden collection earlier this year. And I hadn't used it yet. So I thought I'm going to use it. for my third list. And then I thought, well, I'm going to use it for my second list too, because I'm not going to get so caught up in this being so heavy that I don't want to have some nice things over here. Joe Disney's fan said, I just shared that dinosaur story with my son. He loves dinosaurs. Yes, which is very cool. They did. They uncovered 113 million year old, and I don't know how they figured that out. But they, I would really need to read more of the story. They recovered 113 million year old dinosaur tracks in Texas as this, I don't know if this was lake bed or river or whatever it was, as it dried up. I said that could even get controversial because then you talk about drought and then that's a whole other thing, right? Okay, so let me see what I would like to use as I look through this. Really pretty, kind of a lot of, some of the patterns are a little bit of watercolor-y. This is just one of those good neutrals. Like sometimes you just need a really plain, I shouldn't say plain, I should say non-themed collection to work with, right? And this could, you know what? I think actually this one would work. We see why this one would work? This can work just when we look at the colors that are over here. You have the green in the arrow, you have the yellow in the price sign, and you have the red. So you kind of have a little bit of red in that. So, and then you have a little bit of red in the monkeypox. And so I think we'll make that work. This will be the base of my list. Yeah, K & Company had a really fun, and this was a lot of their style. This kind of, I don't even know how you describe that look, but it's called Antique Garden. And that one I have on my website too, just linked in the description of the video. This is one of my favorite products from that. Look at that. Aren't those fun? Those are layered butterfly stickers and kind of little bodies of the butterfly body. Whatever that part of the butterfly is like a really kind of fun gold puffy. So I will use those on my next list. But this is going to be the base. And I think now what I could do is, what if we use this? Because this could be, I could type the typewriter on there. How about this? I could stamp the typewriter on there. That's what we'll do. Okay, let's get moving. My inserts are standard wide, as I mentioned, and standard wide is 5 by 8.25. I almost exclusively use 6 by 8 pads in my traveler's notebooks because of the size. 6 by 8, 5 by 8.25. That means I have very little waste when I am using a 6 by 8 piece of paper out of a pad. But the other nice thing is that the pattern is scaled. So if I had this piece of paper and a 12 by 12, those flowers would be much larger, which is great for a 12 by 12 canvas, but not so great when I am cutting a piece of that to use on a much smaller canvas. So that's another reason that a 6 by 8 is good. So it is 6 by 8. I have 5 by 8.25. So what I generally do is when I want a background for my traveler's notebook insert, I trim that to 4 3/4. And I trim to 4 3/4 because that will give me a nice even border all the way around, because I'm stuck with the 8, right? I'm stuck with the 8 because it's 6 by 8. If I trim to 4 3/4, I end up with a nice border all the way around. I like to round the outside corners when I am using a piece of pattern paper for the base of my list, because the inserts have rounded corners. So it just kind of helps them match up a little bit. So that will go right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this list off the page. And what I mean by that, I am going to use this as my base. I will build the entire list here, and then I will adhere it to that page in my insert. It's going to be a lot easier to do that just because I'm getting to the end of my insert, and it gets a little bit harder to like work on it when it's like this. So we'll just put this off to the side for a sec. A die cut for the typewriter. I know, Kathy. It's on the list. It is on the list. Haven't done die cuts yet. I mean, haven't done dies. Is that what you mean, dies? I think. A die. I think that's what we mean. Die is in the works. Well, it's not in the works. It's on the list. I got to get the traveler's notebooks done first. But there are a number of stamps that you guys have said, oh my gosh, I would love a die for that. So yes, that will be, we'll work on that at some point. Me. I say we because my friend Amy, you've heard me talk about Amy, I think a couple times. She is, does some work for me, a number of hours a month, for me, helps me do some work on some product development. So that's been awesome. So that's what I mean when I say we. All right, I need a stamping block, and my big one is being used, and it won't fit on that one. So I haven't cleaned off my other stamping block yet. Let me just grab another one there we go. That'll work for now. All right, so I am going to stamp this typewriter on a piece of patterned paper. Now, where the die would really come in handy, yes, a die for the stamp. That's what I thought you meant, Kathy. Where the die would really come in handy. Now, isn't that funny? Why I center like that, I don't know. A die would really come in handy because once I stamp on here, then I am going to need to cut it out, right? I'm going to need to cut it out. So die would be really awesome. We'll get there. We'll get there. There's so many ideas. There's so many things I want to do. So many things I want to do. So many products I want to come out with. I just got to find the time. Okay. Make the time, not find. Actually, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go in this corner instead of this corner. It starts to get a little bit more distressed there. So I'm going to come up here and do my stamping. Now, I did not do a test stamp first. I don't know if I do when I normally do the typewriter. I probably should have, but I didn't. A couple things about stamping. I find it much easier and my stamping much more successful if I stand while I'm stamping as opposed to sitting. You can get a lot more direct pressure if you were coming at it from above as opposed to kind of being in line with it if you're sitting down. Another thing, hard surface. Like the worst place, well, not the worst place. The worst place you could probably ever try to stamp would be on a bed or a couch. And another worst place, and I bring this up because I know a lot of you go to crops. Trying to stamp on like a folding table, not the best because it has a little bit of give in the center, right? So if you're stamping, try standing up on a hard surface, even if you have to go to the dining room table or the kitchen counter or something like that. Do it on a hard surface because that will make your stamping all the more successful. While I'm cutting this out, let's talk about another thing that can affect your stamping. And this is a big one. The paper that you are stamping on, I'm just going to use my big scissors to kind of do most of this cutting. The paper that you're stamping on, that is another big one. Some of you will email me and say, oh my gosh, like for example, I've been trying to do my swatches, my ink swatches, and I'm not getting solid coverage at all. So I always ask you a couple things. Number one, the biggest one for me is what paper are you using? The paper that you're using to stamp on has a lot to do with the outcome of your stamped image. I use usually if I'm stamping directly on like white cardstock, I use a Nina Bright White. And I have that listed in the description box of the video. I just buy it on Amazon, but I think you can find it at Sam's Club. I think you can find it at a number of places. But I use a Nina Bright White. It is a smooth surface as opposed to textured. So if you think like basil, okay, basil cardstock, and if that means something to you, then you know. If it doesn't mean anything to you, then it doesn't matter. Don't worry. But if your paper has a lot of texture to it, that can really affect the impression of your stamped image. Smooth seems to do better. Now, when you're stamping on pattern paper like this, most pattern paper in the industry, unless you buy like a pad, sometimes if you're buying pads, I don't mean like a 6x8 pad. I mean, like, let's say if you go to Hobby Lobby and you're buying a pad with 1,000 sheets for $5, you know that the quality of that paper is not going to be very good because you get what you pay for, right? If it's super inexpensive, probably not as good a quality as something that's more expensive. So thinner paper too sometimes will not give you the stamped image or the impression that you are looking for. All right, so there we go. That will be the base of my list. Now, sometimes, like we looked at, I do something that just tucks into a little pocket like that, but I'm not going to do that on this one. This one, I am just going to take a piece of white cardstock. So this is an example of what I was just talking about when I'm stamping on white cardstock. So here's white cardstock. Let me just look really quick. K & Company had the most creative patterns, and it was also good quality paper. Yes. And I think Karen said something about feminine style with variations based on theme. Yes, definitely feminine. There's a street named Xanadu in Denver, Karen said. Karen, finding time is a fantastic goal in life. Absolutely. Finding time for all the things that we want to do. Dino, yay! Diane Jenkins is here. So Diane Jenkins is Dino 914. Diane is the one that made this lovely, beautiful card for me. She said, thanks everyone for the kind. I didn't know you were going to be here, Diane. Thanks everyone for the kind words about my birthday card for Lael. I wouldn't ordinarily do yellow typewriter. Mine would be pink, but I think I recall Lael loves yellow. Yes, I do. I love yellow. I love yellow. I love navy. Yeah, I like yellow a lot. I like pink. But I gravitate towards yellow a lot. Terry will tell you that too. All right, so let's see what size I need for my list. Probably, well, no, I don't want to do that. Let's see. So I want it to be fairly wide. And we worked a lot when we were designing the stamp set. When I say we, I mean Andy. Andy is the, Andy K. Art is the lady that designed Scatter for me, and she's the lady that graphic designer that I work with to design my stamps. So we worked a lot. Oh, and Amy. Amy helped with this one too. Worked a lot on getting this typewriter as wide as we could, knowing that generally I'm using it on a list, right? So we wanted to get it as wide as we could. Then we also needed it to be wide so our list could kind of fit in there, but also have it be shorter, right? We didn't want like a really tall typewriter because then we don't have a lot of room for that. So there a lot of thought goes into things. A lot more thought than you'd probably think goes into things when you are when you're trying to design a product. I shouldn't say trying. When you're designing a product, there's no try. Well, it just happens, right? Oh, another thing I just thought of. I just checked my fingers because now I'm working with white cardstock, and I really should have done this before. I was stamping with black and that chipped sapphire, so I really should make sure that I do not have any ink on my fingers, right? So your wipe comes in handy for that too. All right, so I think that'll be good. Then I'll tell you what this finished size is if any of you are listing and you're like, well, wait, what size is that paper for your list? So it ends up being 6.5 by, easier to measure this way, 6.5 by about 3 3/8. Halfway between 3 1/4 and 3.5. All right, so there we go. That will be my list. Okay, before I adhere that, I need to do some stamping right now. Ooh, let's see if that worked out okay. Oh, it did. Look at my in the news still works. So I need to stamp my in the news title. Now, what would I like to do? What color would I like to do? I think the green would just be a little bit too much green, so I don't want to do green. I won't do yellow because yellow will be a little bit harder to show up to see, and I already have yellow at the bottom of the list. I could do one of the peachy pink colors, or I could do the blue. Aha, let's look here, because now I know what I'm going to use. I'm going to do the blue, just because I have some blue, little bit, kind of some purples coming out in here, but blue there, blue in the pool and the ocean. So I think I will do a blue, and we'll find the blue that matches that. Dora said, I need that in the new stamp set. It's good. It is. Okay, I shouldn't say that. I like it. I like it. It's good. Yeah, well, I like it. So, and I like that it's turned out that it has been, when I designed this, I really had no intent of, oh my gosh, look at all the pockets and cards we could make with the typewriter. That wasn't on my, that was not on my, oh my gosh, what's the word? What is the word? Not on my, oh gosh, I need a sip of water. Hang on. Hydration break. Not agenda. Not on my, I don't know. I don't remember. Someone will tell me in a minute. All right, I need a, radar, thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn, thank you. I need a, look at that blue that I need. Oh, I know what some of you are gonna tell me. Well, it's not really blue, it's more purple, Lael. I might have to go into the purples. Yeah, see, that's why you need lots of different colors. At least for me, that's why I'm like, ooh, I want that to be the right color. And it's a collecting thing, right? I didn't have all these at once. I guarantee you that. It's a collecting thing. Stormy Sky, no. Milk Lavender, no. Oh, look at Shaded, no, it's not Shaded Lilac either. Okay, well, I don't really have the blue. So let's go back and figure out which blue is kind of close. Which one is kind of close? Well, maybe we should look more at the ones that are over here. That'll kind of be, no, it doesn't really matter. Just, you're like, Lil, pick a blue. Just pick a blue. Speckled Egg, no. Salvage Patina, no. My heavens. Tumbled Glass, maybe it's Tumbled Glass. Let's do Tumbled Glass, that'll work. I will test stamp it first because, again, I want to make sure that it's right. Tumbled Glass, where are you? That makes me want to sing Broken Glass. Oh heavens. Annie Lennox, right? Annie Lennox. Who used to be part of Yaz, but I think that's an Annie Lennox song. I love it, Kathy. Kathy said it's called FSS, full set syndrome, when you have to have all the colors. I know, and guess what? I don't have all the colors. I bought most of what I have, and then Tim Holtz reached out and said, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that you liked those so much. What do you need? And I said, oh my gosh, that is so nice. You know, here's what I don't have. But I would love anything you want to send me, I would be so happy to have. And then he sent me a ton. So, but I still don't have them all. There's 80 some odd colors. Okay, where am I? Oh, I'm not ready for that yet. Let's see if this one, we need in the news for our stamping for our title. In the news. Yep. We'll go to this one in the news. Eurythmics. Oh, okay, then who's the Yaz person? You're right, it is Eurythmics, but who's Yaz? Alison Moyer? Is it Alison Moyer? Okay, here's the deal. This is why I think I came up with that. I think they both have short red hair. Right? Alison Moyer is Yaz, am I right? Okay, somebody help me. Somebody tell me. I think Alison Moyer is Yaz. Annie Lennox, Eurythmics. Oh, don't do that yet, Lil. I get too sidetracked. I need to test. Oopsie. Okay, no one must know Yaz. Samantha Dawson said, hi from the UK. I've been binge watching your videos while Mom and I do housework. Oh my gosh, that's so fun. I love that. That's fun that I'm your little, helps you get through your housework. Not little, but yes, I love that. That's very fun. Say hi to your mom. And I got it, Colleen. That's another part about Colleen that I love. She always tells me when it's my angel time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Angel time was not a term I was familiar with. I can't remember, somebody told me that, but really what it is in my head, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 come up on the clock a lot. Now, you're like, Lael, it can really only come up twice a day, right? But what I mean by that is it seems very often when I look at the clock, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 12:34. And I always think that's my grandma, like saying, hi, I'm thinking about you. And my grandma passed away a while ago, but I don't know why. I've always just felt like that was my grandma. When I see 1, 2, 3, 4, there it is. So some people call it angel time, and Colleen is always very good about pointing out, Lael, angel time. And it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, Alison Moyer. And yeah, she had cropped red hair. Yes, kind of like Annie Lennox, right? Don't Go. Yeah, that's a good one, Marilee. That's a really good one, isn't it? Because some of those songs are a little bit more mellow, and I don't want to say a little bit sadder, but Don't Go is a good one. Okay. All right. Here we go. There is my title in the news. And you know what? That'll be good. That'll be colored. You know what's really funny? Probably won't see any of the blue over here anyway. All right, so now what I want to do, 1109. Okay, there we go. Mitzi's is 1109. And different people have different feelings on why they keep seeing the same time come up, right? And I'm sure some people go, well, duh, there's only so many, minutes in the day. And so they double each other unless you're doing military time. So basically you cut them in half if you're looking at 24 hours because they double. So inevitably you're going to look up at some point and see a time. And probably statistically, you're not going to see one time versus another. It's just that one time sticks in your head. So when you see that, it really sticks out. I don't know. You decide. You do you. You decide on what, if you have a time like that, what it is. All right, there we go. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. So I pulled one of these out earlier. I had hinted at this before, and it's not ready yet. Other than to say there's going to be an awesome new storage solution that I will have for you that helps with this. And that was the stack of all of these, right? That was the stack of all of these that are the little blending tools. I want to do a little blending on, hang on, I just need to grab it. I want to do a little blending. Wait. Let me pull this off. I want to do a little blending on the edge of that cardstock before I put it down. The reason I want to do that is because I want to pull a little bit more of that blue in. All right. So I need a good clean one because you do not want to use like your blue on the pink. You also don't want to use, if you use both Distress Oxides and Distress Inks, you don't, even if it's the same color, want to use the same blending tool for the same color, Distress Oxide and Distress Ink, because they have different properties and you will cross-contaminate. You don't want to do that. So I am going to take that little blending tool, that little foam blending tool. I didn't add these to, I need to add these to the what I'm using list for today. But the way I'm going to add some extra color is I am just going to kind of color the edges. And I'm doing that with that little foam blending tool. These are nice because they're domed as opposed to flat. The edges are domed, which gives you kind of softer, the edges. They're not really edges, right? I guess. They're domed, so you get a little bit of a softer blend. Or you can get a softer blend. And I'm just using this for the edges, but these are awesome to use when working with stencils. And I have some stencils coming. When Vicki was here, we did a joint live on my YouTube channel. Then we did a joint live on her YouTube channel. And we did mixed media on her YouTube channel. Mixed media, definitely not my thing. You don't see me do that. I did with Vicki. Stencils, however, I have ordered some stencils that I think will be really fun for us to use on our lists as a base to kind of create our own pattern paper. So those are coming. All right, there we go. See, now I pulled in a little bit more of that blue, and it just looks so much, I don't know, it looks like I took a piece of light blue cardstock and then adhered my white list onto the light blue cardstock. The nice thing by inking edges like that, as opposed to doing, layering or adhering, making a mat, is that with the ink and the ink, you get the exact same color. All righty. Yeah, like I said, I just have to let go of the fact that I have the Al-Qaeda guy on one side of my list and really pretty yellows and flowers and things on the other side. It's just the way that it is. It's the way that it is. Ooh, I should probably, oh, that'll be fine. There we go. Okay, and then this. I actually could have made that much shorter, but I didn't. Okay, so I have a thought, and I'm not quite sure how it will work. so if this is over here, what if actually I just had a couple thoughts. I started thinking, well, shoot, it's kind of plain over here, right? What if I took this piece that was left over? Let's try it. I took the piece that is left over from when I cut it. What if, I don't know if I'll be able to get under here. Oh yeah, I'm good. What if I put this right here? And it would just kind of give a little bit of color over on this side. I'm not going to see very much of it. Right? I'm not going to see very much of it. Let's see if we like it. That'll help a little bit. I don't really love it. Well, what if we do this? We're just playing here. I don't know what I'm doing, so we'll see. I don't think, there's no washi with this collection. So, I could add some other washi. I just have to look through the giant stash to see what I have that would work. Let's say, what if this goes down here? Is that weird? No, it's fine. That'll work though, because I would like to just have a little bit more of that color over here so it doesn't look so weird. So we'll make that work. We'll make it work. Oh, that's fine. All right, let me come back in here and just add a little bit of adhesive along there. Okay, there we go. That then just helps to kind of tie it in a little bit more. And I didn't have to use any more paper, right? I just used what I had left over from that main piece. All right, so then what I was thinking, I need to add August. I'd like to say August somewhere. So what if we pull out, oh, I know. What if we just did this? What if we just used this guy? This needs to be cleaned because it still has navy all over it. So what's funny, guys, here, literally, I'm just talking to myself. Well, that's always what I'm doing, but I'm talking, like I'm thinking out loud. And this is, I don't know, I'm sure I do this sometimes even when it's just me. I'm by myself. I'm not doing a live or something. I'm just talking to myself. I'm pretty sure sometimes when I'm designing, I talk to myself when no one's here. Before our cat died, then I could always pretend like I was talking to him, but he's not here anymore. All right. Lime. Mitzi, I don't know offhand, 80 pound maybe? If you click in the description of the video, there will be a link to that cardstock, and then it'll tell you, but I don't remember offhand what it is. I want it 110. I don't remember. 80, 110, I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, Jackie, I remember, okay, Jackie just said, hour in the news, they finally identified one of the 4 bodies found in Lake Mead. It was a drowning victim who died August 2002, 20 years later. Yeah, that's what's happening with all the drying up, right? The drought. All kinds of things are being uncovered. So I could either do August right there. I could do August right there. I kind of wonder what that would look like. Oh, okay, so here's an idea. This is how I would kind of like to see what August looks like if I do it right there, type it right there, if I stamp it right there. But the thing is, I don't want to ruin it because what if I don't like it? So look what I have. I still have some of that paper left over. So I can come back, and here I would use black because I'd be on the black part of the typewriter. So I can just do a little piece up here and see if we think we would like it. That's a trick for, well, if you need to cover something up, let's say I stamped directly on there and I messed it up. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I messed it up. Well, I would just stamp again, cut it out and put it on top of there. But if I'm not sure if I'll like it, this is a really easy way to test to see if I would like it or not. Now it'll look a little bit different because I have the lines of the typewriter, right? Okay. I'll have the lines of the typewriter. those little cross lines, but I think this will give us a good idea of whether we like it or not. Well, guess what? I could just do that. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. But I want to cut off a little bit of the excess, because then that way I don't have those lines getting in the way. And the lines there are good because that makes it, you know, look like the typewriter, but I don't necessarily want those lines to get in the way of my stamp. So let's try that. It's just all about all this that we're doing, whether it's about last month or whether it's in the news or whether it's a list like the next list that we're doing, like what I'm currently listening to, podcast wise. All of this is just documenting, right? We're documenting what we're doing. We're documenting what's happening in the world. We're just documenting. So memory keeping, we're telling a story. And in some cases, well, it's all a story, right? Whether it's the news or our own story or... So for those of you that are scrapbookers, we're scrapbooking. For those of you that are like, oh my gosh, scrapbooking, I would never do that. We're memory keeping. We're telling a story. We're making a list. Not funny. It's the same thing. It's just different terminology. It's like when our kids were little. Yeah, I like that. That was a good place to put that. We haven't done that before. So there we go. That will go there. And then my list. Let's work on the list next. So sometimes, I think maybe once, I have done a list using the numbers. So let's see, maybe, I bet I could do the numbers. Let's do that. Let's do the numbers, the little typewriter key numbers. So I would like to use, let me look. I think these are a little bit too big for the stylus. Yeah, they're way too big for the stylus. So let's use... not this one. Let me clean off August because this is really the size I need to use. This is where that nested set of stamping blocks really comes in handy. There are 4 blocks in the set. And sometimes you think, oh yeah, I don't need 4 stamping blocks. Well, having different sizes to work with makes life a lot easier. And that I would say too, when we talk about some of the things that you can do to make your stamping more successful, having the right tools, right? The tools are important. The right tools for the job are important. Let's just put this guy back on there. If I only had a one size stamp set like this and I was trying to just, you know, use only one thing and only have one. Well, if I'm trying to do this little tiny one with this big giant block, I can, it's just a lot more difficult to do. So we're going to use our little guy. All right. Next question is, I think I better do black. I think I'd better do black because I have the light blue and my writing is going to be in black. Well, yeah, I think I'd better do black. I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do the light blue in my numbers and then write in black? Or should I do the black in the numbers and then write in black? I'm going to wait until you guys give me some feedback because I want to, this is one of those times where I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then usually, I don't know, it'll probably be 50-50. But sometimes we'll just do what most people say. How about that? And while I'm waiting, I'm just going to put a few things away. Come on, people. Tell me. What do you think? Light blue or black? Jackie says black. Light blue or black? Well, if it's only Jackie, then it'll be black, huh? This is where we need the Jeopardy music. Do 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 do. I like the blue, but I think it will look better in black. Okay, Jackie and Sarah. Oh, Gerda said light blue. I think we're gonna do the black. And Cheryl, okay, 3, we'll do, I know. Okay, so here, light blue numbers, black text, do a practice, see what it looks like with the blue. So the way that we can do the practice is we could do that right here. All right. So let's do that. I'm going to do the lighter color first. We'll do the lighter color first. We'll put that right here. It'll be kind of squished in, but that's okay. There's that. And then we'll write dinosaur. That'll be one of the things on the list. And then, whoopsie, let's do the black and see what blue will look off, I think, with the darker pen. I'm kind of with you there, Sarah. I think it will. I think it will look off a little bit with the darker pen. But this is also where having your test stamp comes in handy, because I already had the in the news stamp. I didn't have to go back and do that again. Yeah, I think so. I think it's the black. Black it is. All right, so now one. All right, I think what I'm going to do first, I think I'm going to do all of my stamping first. So we'll stamp those, and then I'll know which ones, in case I can't fit them all in. I know I can at least fit 8, but there were some things on my list that were not in photos. And it doesn't really mean that I could write something on my list that's not on the photo, because I also have the photos, but we'll kind of see what we get. We will see what we get. Now, in the news, here's the other thing. In the news, you wouldn't have to use for news. I know that sounds kind of funny, but in the news. So let's say you have kids or grandkids that you're documenting. You could do an in the news type story, just what's happening in their world. Like in the news, Jonathan went back to second grade this week or month or whatever. So you could use kind of this in the news. Oh boy. In your scrapbooking or your journaling or whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to really be actual like a news story. So then it could be like three sets in one. With using it for the cards like we saw that Diane did. Well, and I know a number of you. Amy had done some fun cards too. Using it like we are, and in the news type list, and then using it just as for your scrapbooking or journaling, talking about something that's happening in someone's life. In the news, somebody said son got engaged. In the news, Bob and Susie got engaged. In the news, Daryl and Rebecca got divorced. I don't know. You could use in the news for lots of things for your journaling. All right, this takes a little bit of time, but the nice thing about stamps, and obviously when it comes to stamping, you're definitely taking more time than if you were to, just use, well, obviously to write it, but then if you were to use like number stickers or titles or something like that, reusable, right? Your stamps, you invest once and then you have them forever. You take care of them. You have them forever. You can also make them any color you want. Your only limit is the colors of ink that you have. Oh, I'm starting to get a little bit over the edge, aren't I? We'll have to kind of bring that back in. And here's the thing. When we are stamping, our stamping lists take a lot longer, right? Well, really anything that you do. If you're stamping, is going to take longer than, if you were either writing or even using alphabet stickers or, other stickers, just because, you have to stamp, you have to clean off the stamp, then you've got to stamp again or whatever it is you're doing. Oh, look at, I said, oh, I need to bring it back in, and I went further out even. That's okay. That's okay. Those of you that are old school, that have been around a long time, still have your wood mounted stamps. Your like red rubber wood mounted stamps, and that really goes back, but wood mounted stamps. Oh, the photopolymer stamps are like such a breakthrough, but make life so much easier because you can see where you're stamping, right? Whereas before, when we were using wood block stamps, wood mounted stamps, a lot harder to see. You kind of just stamped and hope you got something straight. Much easier to do with clear photopolymer stamps. All right, I'm going to do one more. And as I'm doing this, we'll just talk about your photopolymer stamps. As with many things, quality can depend on where manufactured. So my stamps are manufactured in the US, which makes them more expensive a little bit than a stamp set that you might buy that's manufactured in China. But the quality is way better. And some of you know, if you've bought, and I sell some of them too, but if you've ever bought a stamp set, like a 4x6 stamp set that's $6, not the best quality. Sometimes your stamped images don't come out as well as you would like. Okay, so here we go. Now we are ready to write our list. So obviously the things I had on my list are the things that you see here, but I had some other things on my list also. So I could decide, maybe some of these things will be on this list, but maybe there are things that were on my list over here that I don't have photos for. Okay, so the first one I am going to say, Olivia, why am I thinking K? I don't know why. She died at 73. Very sad. So this is the Al Qaeda leader that was killed in a U.S. drone strike. I don't know if I will put that. Brittany Griner, sentenced to 9 years in Russia. She's the NBA player. I know, Canute, like a fig Newton, but a Canute. Yeah, I don't even know where the K was coming in from in my head. I think the next one, well, I'll just do this. The next one, again, no, this is just a factual statement. We're not drawing any other thoughts than it's a factual statement. FBI raids Mar-a-Lago. Whether that is a good thing in your book or a bad thing in your book, factual, FBI raided Mar-a-Lago. Those of you that don't live in the U.S., Mar-a-Lago is one of Donald Trump's resorts where he, resort home kind of thing, where he was living. And they raided it to take some documents. That's all I'll say about that. All right, FBI raids Mar-a-Lago. This is okay, I've got to be careful. I was going to say this is a good one. I think for most of us, not why, but the gasoline prices have decreased. I got to be really careful. You can tell I'm like tiptoeing around things. Let's see. National average gas drops to $3.89 a gallon. Gas drops to $3.89 a gallon from whatever the national average was, much higher than that, right? We were well over $5 at one point. Okay, next one. Alex Jones. So this one needs to be a little bit smaller. Alex Jones. How am I writing that? Alex Jones. Well, whether it gets paid or not, who knows? $4 million in damages to Sandy Hook parents. And again, and I'll just recap this one because this is probably definitely a more U.S. thing, but even maybe some people in the U.S. don't know. Sandy Hook Elementary, there was a horrible mass shooting in an elementary school, Sandy Hook, a number of years ago, maybe 15 years ago, 14 years ago. Alex Jones is a person who was talking about conspiracy theories, and that was the whole thing was a conspiracy theory. So went to court, and the judge ruled that he had to pay $4 million in damages to the parents of the children that died there. Next one, let's see. Oh, monkeypox is declared a public health emergency. I have that there, so I don't think I'll write that here too. let's see, Olivia Newton-John, FBA rates national average gas. Well, we have to do this one. Dinosaur, let's see, 113 million year old dinosaur tracks discovered in Texas. Da, 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 da. Okay, I have 3 left to go. So I think what I'm going to do, I will tell you the others that I have on my list, but I will finish this up later because, you know, we don't need to keep watching me like figure out what I'm going to add. So I had the Al-Qaeda leader, Zawahiri, was killed in a U.S. drone strike. Brittany Griner sentenced to 9 years in Russian prison. Let's try that again. NBA star Brittany Griner sentenced to 9 years in Russian prison. 4 police officers were charged in a raid on the home of Breonna Taylor in 2020, public health emergency, da, 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 da. And the last one was student loan relief. So that is one of those. I will, 3 of those I will add to my list. I just don't know which one yet. And Brooke said, and this is definitely an okay thing, so I will echo her sentiment. Brooke said, I wish it wasn't true. And I think what she meant by that was that that the Sandy Hook thing wasn't true. Like Alex Jones was claiming that it was all a conspiracy theory, that she wishes that it wasn't true because it was absolutely horrible, devastating thing. All right, so I am going to go ahead, even though I have 3 more to do, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this into my insert now. And the only reason I'm saying this and not leaving it out is that I need to get super, super, super close to this edge here. This is going to be the right edge. I need to get super close because it is, I don't need to be as worried about the rest of this, but I need to try to get as close as I can to that edge because it has to make it and stick around that little kind of indent, right? So let's go ahead and indent whatever that is, that curve that it's got to go around, that it has to, I shouldn't say it's got. Okay, there we go. So there is, there's our second list in the news. Okay, friends, third list. Our third list is, oh, go back and add just a little bit right there. Our third list is a variation on a currently. And we did, we've done currently a couple times in a couple of different ways. The first time that we did currently, I don't know if it's in here. I have some lists I need to go back and finish up, don't I? The first time we did currently, oh yes, was like this. Where I did currently for the month of June, and I used a whole bunch of the prompts on the currently stamp set to just kind of document what was currently happening in my world, right? Here's the currently stamp set. And then when Vicki was here and we did the joint lives that I was talking about earlier, we did some mixed media when we were on her live. And this was the mixed media that I did. I did bubble blowing, and that's where you get all those really cool kind of, I don't know, whatever pattern or whatever that is. We did bubble blowing with acrylic paint. I did some stenciling. I did some stamping. So I did some more stenciling with the yellow there. But I had just done the currently stamping, and then I had come in and done some stamping, enjoying, watching, playing. And that was the mixed media that I did. And then when we ended, we both said, oh my gosh, we should use what we've done for mixed media on one of our next lives, one of our projects for our next live. So we were together in July, and I did this list. I was going to do a currently list for July, and I was going to have it be exactly like this one, where I would do a whole bunch of prompts down the side. But when I sat down to start doing that, I'm like, wait a minute, this was already there. I had done currently and I had watching. And I'm like, well, darn it, that watching is kind of in the way of all the things, the prompts I want to do down here. I went, well, duh, why don't I do a list instead of something that has all of the prompts on it? why don't I do a much narrower focused list about things I'm currently watching? And then I listed the things I was currently watching, which, by the way, I just have to do a little squirrel moment. Better Call Saul. We just finished. We just watched on Thursday night, I think, Thursday night, binge watched the last like 2 episodes. Oh my gosh. If you watch Better Call Saul and you haven't finished that yet, I thought they ended it so well. Totally different than the way they ended Breaking Bad, because I know people kind of felt like things were hanging, but they ended Better Call Saul so well. So this I'd never thought of. With this stamp set, it had never even occurred to me that, oh my gosh, you could just do a list using currently with one of these single prompts. So we did currently watching. One of the list suggestions that has came up a couple of months ago, I think, was podcasts. And what kind of podcasts people are listening to. And we were just kind of chatting, at the end of one of the sessions, and people were like, I listen to this, I listen to that, I listen to that. And I thought, well, that would be really fun if we did a list about podcasts you're listening to. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do currently listening. Now, the offer. Terry, it is on our watch list. You know what? This is so funny. It is actually going on, the offer is going on this list. It is on my list in here. We haven't watched it yet, but it's on our watch list. Yes, because Nick loves The Godfather, so that'll be perfect. All right, so, oh my gosh. Oh, Dawn said, so sad it was over. Yeah, I agree, Dawn. I know. You really come to love some of those characters, right? Okay, so that's our last list, is currently listening. And my focus is going to be on podcasts. Now, if you don't listen to podcasts, you could do currently listening to, maybe you listen to books on tape, or maybe you listen to music, or maybe you listen to audiobook is a book on tape. Isn't that funny? That's how old school I am. Book on tape, because it used to be you had to buy a cassette and you'd plug it into your cassette player. An audiobook, if you listen to audiobooks, then you could do that. Or you're like, man, you know what? I don't want to do listening. I want to do enjoying or discovering or loving or doing or whatever. But I'm going to do currently listening with a focus on podcasts. All right. So, and also because when you do a lot of driving, sometimes you're listening to the podcasts. All right. This is going to be this list. I'm also going to use a paper from Antique Garden. Let's see. I think I had one in mind, but I don't remember what it was. We'll just see. It was one with isn't that cute with the birds? Okay, so I really like this. And the birds would be really fun because you could be listening to birds chirping, right? I mean, that's kind of a stretch, but I think by the time I put my list down, you wouldn't see the bird anymore, right? You wouldn't see the birds. But let's look and see. Oh, look at. There are, Okay, let's look. Looks like there's some birds in the die cuts. So let's go to the good old die cuts. There's also birds. Well, there's also birds. Now that I look over here, there's also birds in the kit. All right. I think I'm going to use this sticker on my list because I like kind of maybe the birds. So that way I can get the birds in there without the whole paper, because I'd end up covering up a lot of the birds. But I really like the way that looks. I don't know. We might use it. I like the pink and the green together. So we might go back to that, even though it'll cover up a lot of... something like this could be fun because you could just trim. I mean, you probably wouldn't use it for this list. I mean, you could, but you could trim and then just use that for your list right in there. So that would be kind of fun. That's pretty. But I really, I mean, not for this list, I don't think. Oh, no, why not? Let's do it. This is another fun one with the lines. But I just opened this today. That one I love, too. Oh, okay, hold on. Got to look at all of them. The lemons. All right, I think I'm going to go back to that. Oh, so here's an idea. If I wanted to keep this a really simple list, I could just cut this to 4 3/4 and write my list right on there, and I'd still have the birds if I wanted the birds. That'd be a fun one to fussy cut, those flowers. That'd be another easy list, and just write my list up there. But I think I am really drawn, like that too. Good florals, right? Okay, So I think what I am going to do, I'm going to go back to that orange one. That orange one was really fun. So that's my plan. Where is it? Come on. So you're getting a full flip through again. This one. Yeah, that's really pretty. We'll see if we can find that kind of orangey color, right? Karen binges Broncos games, followed by music videos, Lael's lives, as well as Bath and Body Works. What? Bath and Body Works YouTube videos? I don't even know what that is, Karen. Do tell. Well, assuming it's rated PG. Bath and Body Works YouTube videos. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that would even be. All right, so we'll do that. We'll have that little bird there. Yes. Well, we're just going to do it. Let's go ahead and trim this down. So this is going to be the base for my list. I'll use white cardstock on top of it. So I would like this to be 4 3/4. And that's just my personal preference. When I am using a standard wide insert, like I said before, so that gives me a little bit of white border all the way around. I will round the 2 outside corners because this will go on the left facing page. Like so, but like I did this list, this is going to be done off the page because it'll be a lot easier for me to work on this way and then to bring it back in. All right, so I have an idea. All right, it's such a mess. Now there's all the things are here. All the stamp sets are out. There's a lot of things here. They're kind of fallish, aren't they? But they're also kind of like a fun summer fall. All right, so let's look. Let's just see where we want this to be. Need to make sure it's not narrow and not too narrow for my currently. So I think we're good. If I go about right, that should be good. And we'll go down here. Woo! Oh, goodness. I almost dropped that on the floor. Okay, I have more tools that are cracked or little parts missing because I drop them on the floor accidentally. Alrighty. Okay, who's doing this one with me? Well, and even if you're not doing this list with me, very curious to know, do you listen to podcasts? And if so, what's on your listen list? Because I would be very interested, except for Listen Linda, right? Listen, Linda, listen. Remember that? That little boy? So funny. That's trying to talk Linda. I don't know if Linda's his mom or grandma or relative or what, but he's trying to talk her into, I don't know, letting him have something to eat or something. But it's so funny, like cake or cookies or donut or something. It's hilarious. Listen, Linda, listen. It's a walkthrough of stores, fragrance hauls, reviews of scent, as well as collection videos of body care items. Oh, wow, that sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. All right, currently. Now, I need currently listening. Okay, I think what should work here. Now I could get creative with an ink color if I wanted, couldn't I? Let's see what we have in terms of something that's might be fun and orangey there. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I had to think in my head for a minute about something that I want to do to the bottom part of the list. So, ooh, the orangey could marmalade, spice marmalade. I don't know. We'll see in our head. Aha! Look it. It is. It's spice marmalade. That is what I'm going to use. Spice marmalade. Okay, let's grab that out. You start to know your inks. You start to know your inks. Okay, whoopsie. It also helps if you clean up in between when you need to use the stamp block again. Oh, here's another thing. It's also a really good idea to clean up after you use your stamps, right? You don't want to put them away with the ink on them. You should always clean them off. Always clean them off. Oh, Robin. Robin said, just watching along today, recovering from surgery. Oh, Robin, I hope you're recovering well. I hope you are recovering well. That's always tough. Carolyn said, just finished working at 2, so I have been listening before and now cleaned up my desk a little to list today. Oh, good. Samantha said, Coffee Convos and Risen Motherhood are my go-to podcasts. Okay, so I'm going to have to come back and come back to the chat after we're done and look at some of the podcasts that you guys are listening to, because Oh, I'm interested. I'm really interested. I haven't heard of either of those, Samantha. Howdy, y'all. Stopping by for a quick sec. Busy at work today, so I have to catch the replay. Looks cute as always. Hi, Linda May. Nice to see you. Karen is doing a currently page about today's game and putting pics in a pocket with letter stickers above it that say pics with the date. Simple as that. Yep. Here's the thing, you guys. You can be as simple as you want. You can be as non-simple as you want, right? It's your list. You do you. And I always say the only thing you need to make a list truly is something to write with and something to write on. That's all you need. That is all you need. All the rest is just fluff, right? All of the rest is just fluff. It's fun fluff, but just fluff. Nothing that you need. All right. Let's see if we like this color. Ooh, almost dropped it. Let's see if you can tell I didn't clean that stamp very well because it still has the ink. The stamp has black on it, but not affecting my stamped image at all. Yep, we're going to do it. We are going to do it. I'm not going to hem and haw. Oh, all right. I can see another nice reason, I think I mentioned this before, to have your wipes with you, especially when you're working with white, like white cardstock like that. You either get a little residue from one of your ink pads or even just a little dirt, right? Just because dirt happens. Even just a little bit of dirt on your hands. Linda May, you're leaving for the Oregon coast after work today. So excited for a little time away. Linda May, we just got back from a trip to the Oregon coast. Oh my goodness. Such an amazing trip. Just the beauty in that part of our country is just mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. So have a fabulous trip and be safe. I mean, I don't say that you need to be safe because it's dangerous. I just mean, you know, be safe. You're traveling, be safe. Yeah, that's a good orange. That's a spiced marmalade. It is a good one. Just a nice orange. All right. So I'm dropping this down just a little bit because what I am hoping to add listening. We're going to see. Let's see if listening will fit above. Like maybe, I think it will. Let's see. I'm hoping that it might. We can kind of fake it like this and see. Listening. Oh yes, it'll fit right there between the R and the T. Listening. Now, I can eyeball it to see that it will work, but I can also use my little test stamp over here because I should also test the listening. Where's my little one? Oh, here we go. Test it up there and see that I like it. And I think this, well, I should probably do the orange too, right? Just then it'll kind of blend right in. Let's try it. Let's try it. Oh, I feel a sneeze coming on. Hate that when that happens. You feel a sneeze coming on and it just, you know, some people say if you look at the light, then that's supposed to help. Oh, I think that'll be cute. See how it's just kind of nested? It nests right in there. So it'll be listening currently. Let's get some nesting going on here. That was part of the idea with this stamp set. And that's why part of it's design, but part of it is the way those letters are kind of moving around, that you could nest one of your little prompts up there. Listening currently. There we go. Just a little listening. Okay. Then I think what I am going to do, I would like to have it say podcasts right here. Now, what I really need, I need to do a future stamp set where that is an alphabet, because I use this, that font quite often, and it's part of it's a commercial font that I purchased, and then Andy does a little bit of magical work to kind of modify it a little bit. So I need to do a font, stamp font that is set, that is that, so that we'd have it to make other words to match with that, because Currently does that, Favorite Set does that. I can't remember if we have another one coming with that font, but I love that font. Okay. So what I'd like to do, I'd like it to say podcast at the bottom. And I do not have, I don't want to stamp again. I think, oh, I know. I think what I will do is, I need either, I don't want to use another orange because I know I won't find the right orange, but maybe I just use a black. And I'm thinking if I do black, that I will do, yeah, the greens. I have a lot of the Doodlebug, but the Doodlebug green is definitely off, not the right green that what I need here. So I think what I will do is this guy, the My Type, but I need to grab a couple of different My Type sheets out. You can tell this is one I use a lot. This is the Beetle Black My Type, and I have lots and lots and lots of Doodlebug alpha stickers and colors on my website. This one is Beetle Black, and the type is called My Type. So I'm just going to, oh, like, why is that crooked? Because it's not on there yet. Podcasts. I'm going to spell podcasts. Now, to do this, I'm not going to, Mitzi, was that you in the Facebook group that was asking about a font? I can't remember. And it had a little bit more curlies to it, but was that you? Okay, so I am not going to just start adding my letters because it will not be right. What I want to do is I'm going to spell my letters on the ruler. And if you've been with me for a while, you've seen me do this, and I'll talk through it as I do it. I'm going to have them be all lowercase, and I use a ruler for a couple of reasons. Number one, I use the ruler to line up my stickers so they're straight. Right? Straight is good, especially when you're working with something like this and you don't have you don't have lines. If I was working directly on the inserts, I would have the lines, but I don't have the lines because I'm working on blank cardstock. So I'm putting all of my stickers there to get them straight, using the reverse grip tweezers because they're the most awesome tool invented. Well, they just make it really easy to handle very small things like that. Podcasts. Currently listening, podcasts. So I think we had a couple of you tell me, what podcasts are you listening to? Do you listen to podcasts? Maybe people don't listen to podcasts. I have a few, well, not a few. I mean, I have a list, obviously, but I have some that I listen to like all the time. I won't say on repeat because I don't listen to the same podcast again. That is you, Mitzi. That's fun. Yes, well, one of these days, maybe not September, maybe December. Maybe December I'll come out with the stamp. Kristen, Smart List. Smart List is on my list. That's funny. Smart List is on my list. Although sometimes I find that very annoying because they talk over each other all the time. And you're like, we listened to one on our trip that was Smart List with Jack Black. And it's like, oh my gosh, you guys, stop talking and let him talk. We want to hear the people you're interviewing, not you. Part of the reason with that one is there's 3 hosts. So you have 3 hosts and a guest. So that's a lot. Oh my gosh. Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes and, oh my gosh, who's the other guy? I can't remember. Oh, True Crime, Nancy. I have a couple of those on my list too. Oh, podcasts. Whoopsie. Let's get the S, and then I'll show you the second reason why I use a ruler. So this will make sure I get all those little letters on straight. The other reason I use a ruler, and some of you might be like, well, Lael, how come you're not using your little ruler you showed us before for this? Well, because the ruler I showed you before is 1/8 inch thick. This one, Will Arnett. Thank you guys. Yes, Will Arnett. This is super thin. And this is why really you need the super thin one. Because if I want this to be centered, I don't think I want, oh, maybe. Oh, okay, so here we go. This is a prime example. I was originally thinking I was going to put this at the bottom. And if I had already started putting my letters there, then I wouldn't have been able to, well, I could have moved them, but maybe not. But now when they're on my ruler, I can move it all over to see where I like it. But I really like it here. And I like that it's kind of overlapping. The reason I like that it's overlapping, we were talking earlier about trapped white space. So look see all this area right in there? That is trapped white space. There's nothing wrong with that. It just I can't get past it. So if I move this up a little bit, there's still a little bit of trapped white space in there, but not as much. So I think we're going to do right there. Listening currently podcasts. All right, so then I just put it where I want it, and then I press down on those stickers, and then gently, now these are super narrow stickers, so sometimes one or two will pop. Yep, like that. Sometimes one or two will pop, but that's okay, because now I can just go put this guy where he belongs. Currently listening podcasts. A list like this is kind of fun because it's a bit of a time capsule list, meaning that, you know, if you do the same list in 3 years, you may have something totally different on your list. But it's also a time capsule list in that 20 years ago, we would never do a list about podcasts we were currently listening to, because we'd be like, pod what? Pod what? What's a podcast? So that's also kind of a bit of a timestamp. All right, let's go ahead and adhere this. So this will be a pretty simple list in that there's not a lot of other stuff going on except for the bird. We've got to get the bird in there. And the bird is, I mean, you know, I was really stretching saying, well, the bird you might listen to, and then there's a bird, but no, I just like the bird. So the bird's going to go down below. I think the bird will just go right there, right? Super simple list, super. If you can hear me, and I'm still here. Can you hear me? And I'm still here. Oh, I just realized my overhead lights have been on the whole time. Hang on. Hold on. I'm gonna just try to grab Nick really quick. Nick? Nick? Oh well. The person that's trying to call me, I was gonna have Nick text her and tell her, you lost me for a few seconds. Okay, yeah. Someone tried to call. So all right, currently listening podcasts. Now, what I'm going to do here is I am going to just draw a little separator, little teeny tiny separator, visual separator right here. And this is where I'll use a ruler as a ruler. Okay, and then I can start my listing down here. Now, I also need a bullet stamp for the things that are on my list. Although, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's funny, that's 8 again. I think what I will do, instead of doing bullets this time, I think I'm just going to use number stickers and number 1 through 8. That will be easier. That will take less time for what we're doing right now. So if I start 1 right here, and I start 8 right here at the bottom, then I can kind of split the difference. Enjoy. Oh, James Clear. James Clear. Okay. James Clear. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this, you guys. I am going to, when we are done, I'm going to go, or if one of you guys want to do this, how about that? If someone wants to hop in when we're done to the Facebook group, the Lail by Mail Facebook group, and let's start a thread in there about podcasts that we're listening to, so then that everyone can have access to those, or at least know what those are, if they're interested. So if somebody would do that, that'd be awesome. I mean, if you're not in the Lail by Mail Facebook group, just go to Facebook and search Lail by Mail. You're going to see a page, like a public page, and then you'll see a private group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. That's not quite, that doesn't go like that. We need to go about right there. Just go to Facebook and find the group and ask to be admitted to the group, and I will admit you. Then we can have a fun little thread going in there about podcasts that we listen to. I don't think have we done that? Have we done that yet? I don't think so. I don't remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the ones I'm currently listening to. Like I said, these could change. Well, these could change next month, next year. Some of the podcasts that you listen to are like a series, right? Like a short series. And then once they're done, they're done. Once they're done, they're done. Oh, my 7, I ended up being way too short. So we'll fix the 8. So now I have this empty space here. We'll figure out what to do with the empty space. Okay. So I am going to, Judith! Oh my goodness, Judith. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. I just have to segue really quick. Judith, I sent you a couple of emails and I don't know. I know sometimes my emails, because when they come from my business account, they get flagged as spam. So I don't know if they landed in your spam account. The last couple of months, you've been popping into my head every so often, and I hadn't seen you here on a Saturday, and I started getting worried that maybe something had happened since I hadn't heard from you or hadn't seen you, and then didn't hear back from the emails. So I am so glad that you popped in, because that I see you. I had even said to Nick, my husband, I'm like, Nick, I'm worried. I'm worried that, I haven't seen Judith, and I hope everything is okay. Judith K, though. I say Judith K. And you guys, I don't know Judith. Well, I do. I know Judith just like I know you guys. But you might think that I don't know you're here. I do. I do know you're here. So, all right, here we go. Currently listening podcasts. My very, very, very favorite one is called How I Built This. How I Built This. And the host of the podcast is Guy Raz. He is extremely talented interviewer. He's very skilled at what he does. But How I Built This, he interviews entrepreneurs that build businesses. And entrepreneurs like the lady that invented Spanx, Ben and Jerry, Stacy's Pita Chips, all different kinds of product and service companies. Shopify, so many different companies, but it's fascinating. Cotopaxi, there's so many of them. But it's fascinating because all of these entrepreneurs, even the guy that invented the Dyson vacuum, all of these entrepreneurs all started out the same way, with an idea and that they were passionate about, and they overcame and were doing their business in their house, and it's very inspirational. So that is by far the top of my list. I love to listen to How I Built This. Next one that we talked about, Smartless, humor. Totally different, not really inspirational. Just a quick caveat with Smartless. There is some language. So just beware of that. If you have little ears or you don't, particularly like to listen to language in some of your podcasts or what you're listening to, just be aware there's some language there. The next one. This one, we just discovered this on our trip. It's called Wisdom from the Top. It is also Guy Raz. But whereas this is entrepreneurs and how they built their business, this one is interviewing top executives in really big companies. And the one that we listened to, and this is all we've only listened to one, but because it's Guy Raz, that I will forever be a fan and now listen to these at the same time I listen to How I Built This. The one that we listened to, he was interviewing an African-American CEO, a female CEO of a tech company. And it was fascinating to hear her story. Now, there, number one, aren't a lot of female CEOs. Number two, there are not a lot of African-American CEOs. And then when you take that together and do female African-American CEOs, that is a very small group. So fascinating. And I'm very excited to listen to more of those because it's a totally different perspective. It's talking to the people at the top and how they got there and some of their challenges and things. Totally different one now, Dateline. Dateline, like the TV show, Dateline. So that's kind of now along the crime, type, along the crime type, true crime series. The next one is one called Wrongful Conviction. And conviction, there we go. Similar crime, but this is Wrongful Conviction, stories about people who've been wrongfully convicted of crimes. This one, you hear guest appearances sometimes from John Grisham, the author John Grisham. He is very involved in one of the nonprofit agencies that works on overturning wrongful convictions. So very interesting. Judith, thank you. Caesars came back and still fighting them, but I'm okay. Well, Judith, I'm just like, I can't even tell you how happy I am to see you here. And know that you're okay. And when we're done, I have to tell Nick that you were here because he knows I've been concerned about that. Okay, next one. Also fascinating. It's called Sounds Like a Cult. Now, it's not like cult scary. It is a pair. It's two women. One woman is a comedian. The other woman, I don't remember what her profession is, psychology or something. But they take a topic and they walk through the entire thing that sounds like a cult. So, Lululemon, for example, they talk about different characteristics of a cult and whether or not they think Lululemon fits that bill. One that we just recently listened to was the Kardashians, the cult of the Kardashians, which is interesting because you don't really think of them as a cult, but it's very fascinating when they talk about their influence in the world because of their huge social media following. And anyhow, sounds like a cult. Very fascinating. I will also tell you a little bit of language in that one as well. So just know that going in. Another one that I enjoy goes a little bit more in depth on particular topics. It's called Why Is This Happening? And it's Chris Hayes. Why is this happening? So he takes something that is kind of happening in the news and he really digs into why it's happening and has different guests that come in and that are expertise in whatever that subject matter is and talks with them about why is this happening. So I enjoy that one. The last one, this one is totally different and it's called Hidden Brain. And I can't pronounce the guy's name, the moderator, the Hidden Brain. But this one goes into like the patterns in the human brain that cause the behavior that we have. So I was actually listening to one of those this morning, and it's talking about that little voice in our head. And the expert that he was interviewing calls it chatter. And it's that voice in your head that will, that sometimes takes you down a totally different path. Usually not a good one. Like you're getting ready in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, this is a good outfit. And then you're like, no, that's awful. And then no, purple looks horrible on me. And then you're like, purple, where did purple come from anyway? Purple doesn't look good on me. And then nothing looks good on me. And oh my gosh, I'm fat and I've gained 100 pounds. And oh, my hair looks awful. And maybe I should change the color of my eyes. And I mean, it's like it's that subconscious in your brain, the hidden, I wrote this down so I could try to, the patterns in the brain. Anyhow. But Hidden Brain, that's a very interesting one too. And there's tons of different topics on things like that. All right, so there we go. But I can't pronounce the guy's name. But if you look for Hidden Brain, you should be able to find it. All right, I am going to go ahead and adhere this one. But because, again, this is a left facing and I am getting towards the end of my insert, I need to make sure I get plenty of adhesive along this edge so it doesn't lift. That's a pretty simple one, friends. Now what I should do, I definitely need to date this one. My other two are dated-ish. I mean, the year's not dated, but they're both August. And they both say August on them, so I'm okay with that. But I think this one I will come in and date. I'll use, well, I was going to say I'm going to use a date stamp, but guess what? I will use a date stamp, but it would have been easier if I had used a date stamp before I inserted it. Before. Oh, all right. Well, looks like, well, let me see. Maybe we'll use this one. Oh, this one? Should we use this one? Yeah, that one. I think we'll make it simple. We'll make it black. Today is August 27th, right? August 27th. So I'm going to stamp this and then I'll flip the camera and we'll do our wrap up. So we got to talk about the giveaways again though. So you make sure that you have, that you can participate in the random giveaway. Oh yeah, because I didn't tell you, I forgot what the second giveaway is. I meant to tell you that on our last list because it pertained to our last list, 27 August. Now, I know it seems silly, but oh, I just remembered I wanted to use something. I'll have to use that next month. I'm still going to test stamp. It is the 27th August, 2022. Sometimes you'll find, especially if you have a number of different roller stamps, roller date stamps, that sometimes the date can get moved, like maybe the year gets moved and you don't realize it, or maybe the last time you used it was in February. Maybe the last time you used it was in February, and so you're like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to write February, so always just double check. I'm always a big proponent of doing your test stamp. We've talked about that quite a bit this time, but test stamp. All right. Oh, I know maybe what I'll do. What if we put this one right here? Okay, and then I think we'll do a little word strip sticker down below. I used the pencil board. Pencil board made it a lot easier, so I'm not kind of running into it. Gave me a flat surface to stamp on. And now I will find a word strip sticker. And I think I might do a black one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we have. Oh, actually, I have lots of different colors if I'm not using one of the Tim Holtz ones. I'm just about done with this insert, and this is what happens when we get to the end. I start to lose some of the pages because these staples can only hold so much after we've added all these things to them. So when I'm done with an insert, that's another video I need to do. I keep promising. I will do the video about the bookbinding tool. So I show you how I kind of take the cover off, make a new cover, and then stitch it all back together. All right, so yellow? I don't know, yellow could be kind of fun, right? That is one of the pretty little studio word strip stickers. I have tons of word strip stickers, and I have even a little link on my website that's just for word strip stickers because I like them so much. Let's see, we could do, this one is called Spring, but there's lots of good things I could use. Let's see, Captured. I mean, Captured would work. Delightful. Maybe Captured. Maybe we'll just do Captured. And that'll just bring in a little bit, a pop of color. Little yellow. Of course it's yellow. Of course it's yellow. Where did it go? Captured. There we go. Okay. Let's see if we like it. I think we will. I don't love it, but that's okay. No, I don't love it. It's too much of a pop of color. Too much of a pop of color. I know some of you would say, said no one ever. It just needs to be black or white. It looks like it's an afterthought, right? I don't want it to look like it's an afterthought, even though it is an afterthought. So let's look. Not small talk. Small talk's going to be too long. Oh, how about one of these? These are fun. Those are called clippings. And it's as if they were clipped from a book, right? So let's see. Please pass the cake. She didn't press her luck. For good measure. For good measure could work, right? For good measure. Oh, hold on. I have two ideas here. We'll see which one. There's one that says he was an extraordinary talker. Now that for a podcast is like perfect, right? That could work perfectly. There we go. I think we'll do that. He was an extraordinary talker. Do we want it to be here? It's crooked. But yes, it will stay there. Unless we want it to go this way. No, it's going to go this way. It will be to the left of the little bird sticker there. Okay, so there we go. He was an extraordinary talker. And then I'm going to add this one just because there's a little bit more space for good measure. All right, there we go, friends. Hi, Marie. Nice to see you. You had a garage sale. Very good. I hope you did well. Hope you sold all your stuff. Okay, friends, I am going to turn off the overhead lights. We are going to flip the camera. I'm going to flip the camera. We will say our goodbyes. We'll talk about when we're together next. We'll talk about giveaways, and then you will be on your way. Okay. All right, we're going to spin the camera now. Ready? 1, 2, life. Oh my gosh, 1, 2, life. That's hilarious. Kristen, while I was spinning, I was looking at the comments and I saw yours that said handmade life is good but old. I said 1, 2, life instead of 1, 2, 3. Gosh, that's funny. Yes, Karen, thank you. Great reminder. Hit the like button before you guys leave if you would. That's super important. All right, so, oh my gosh, thank you. I missed that. I miss our Saturdays so much, you guys. When we don't do them, I can't tell you how much I miss them. I don't know, they're just such a fun time for me to chat with you guys and interact and hang out and make fun lists and get squirrel sidetracked and all of that. So it's a big part of my life, and I'm glad that you guys show up here to give me a place to do this, because honest truth, I would not be doing this if it wasn't for here. Because when your life is your work, which this is my business, the stuff that I do when we're together here on a Saturday is pure play for me. That's the only time that I shouldn't say only, very, very, very rare time that I sit down and play with things, and it's not business related. So thank you for giving me the space to do that. 2 giveaways this week. To participate in the giveaways, hang on for just a couple minutes, and once the video's over, go to the video, not in the chat, go to the video, leave a comment, and just tell me, I don't know, just say hi, whatever you want to leave a comment about today. One is the Fall Traveler's Notebook Kit. I'm giving another one of those away again. And then, this is the one I forgot to talk about, the In the News stamp set. The In the News. Well, you guys saw, that's the one that we were using. Oh, here it is. That's that one, the In the News stamp set that we used on our second list. So a new one, not my used one. So both of those I will, before we're together, before we start when we're together again on Saturday, September 13th. Is that the 13th? Second Saturday in September. We won't, it's not the 13th. Oh my gosh. Somebody tell me what this, oh, wow. I need a calendar. Somebody tell me what the Saturday is after Labor Day Saturday. We'll be together then. We will not be together Labor Day Saturday. Wow. So when we're together the Saturday after Labor Day, that morning before we start, I will draw 2 random comments. I just pick randomly. I literally just scroll, and where my finger stops, that person wins. So I'll draw 2 of those. Let's see if somebody tell me. The 10th. Yes, thank you. We will be together here on Saturday, September 10th. I had also published a list of dates that we will be listing together for now through the end of the year. So September, October, November, December. Those were in the email that went out on Thursday. I will do a blog post when we are done. And I'll also add it to the Facebook group. So I'll probably pin it in the Facebook group just so it's there up at the top. So everybody can kind of see and plan. I'm doing a lot of travel teaching between September, October, and November. So we're just kind of work in between those dates when I am teaching. Gosh, I think that's it. Other than December Documented Mini Book Project Kit went up for pre-order last night. So if you haven't seen that, go to my website and look at that because it's a really fun one. All right, you guys, I think that's all. I'm sure usually I write down if there were things that I wanted to make sure I remembered. I usually write them down in my little handy dandy workbook, but I did not write anything related to that. So I'll just hopefully see you guys in 2 weeks on September 10th here for Saturday, our listing session. If you are watching the replay, thank you. Welcome. Glad you stopped in and hope to see you on a live at some point soon. Okay, friends, everybody, be safe, stay healthy, and I will see you again in 2 weeks, okay?